Who indeed? Hello, Gun. I'm just grabbing myself a cup of tea and then we'll start up. There will probably be a bit of background noise this stream just from the air conditioner because it's getting to that time of year again. But it is what it is. I would rather have a bit of background noise over the mic than, you know, boil to death. It's not quite that level yet, but it is uncomfortably warm in my flat, so it may as well be, for all intents and purposes. You're about to hear some game audio, just me telling the ground crew to arm me up. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten to switch scenes. I mean to leave the starting soon one on. Like I said, I'm grabbing a cup of tea, so I'd rather arm the plane while I'm doing that than waste time when I get back. Also, hey, Tempest, cheers for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Can the SSDs in stream handle the heat? They should be able to. My PC's got really, really good cooling. Like, my PC has no issues with the heat. I have issues with the heat, because unfortunately my inbuilt cooling system is not quite as good as my PC's.
Request rearming. Copy.
Отказ систем. Смотри экран. SSGGHV.
Rearming complete.
Got my ass kicked at ECW on installing. I wouldn't worry about it too much. We all have those days. Look, I have rough days on ECW more often than I'd like to admit. It happens. Especially now that I'm not playing as much, I get super rusty. Also, cheers for the sub, Cube. Appreciate it, man. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, Sanaki traffic, there is someone on final.
I need to remember how to do this whole streaming thing. It's been a fair while. Hey, I think it's been nearly a month since the last stream. Natural state of being a skill issue? You are not wrong, Gern. Alright. Let's see if I can figure this out without breaking anything. Hello? Do I need to fuck with my webcam? I might.
Alright, Sanaki, runway's clear.
I might need to... Yes, I do. Okay.
Thanks for the warning, man. I didn't see the guy.
There we go, I think we're good. So we are on Ligmas
Alright, I'll top off.
because the PVO event is running again. So we'll see how we go this time. Last time went pretty well. I don't know how long's left in the event. It does run for 24 hours from memory, but I don't know when it started. I think I've probably got at least 2 or 3 hours before it goes down. I think, maybe, hope so. So we'll see how we go. Oh, the headphone hair? Yeah, I know. I need another haircut. It's getting a bit unruly. Go ahead and close the lid now. I got a rooster tail going on or something. Oh yeah, a bit. Not too bad. Sometimes the whole lot stands up, it looks fucking ridiculous. When it gets to a certain length, it just sticks out straight. And the headphones make it really obnoxious.
Sonaki traffic, Booker 1-1, lining up runway 09.
The track IR feels a little weird. I think I've still got precision on, but I should just double check. Yeah, it's on. Okay. I've just lost my DCS legs, because I haven't flown much for a few weeks. Been busy with work. The whole adult responsibilities thing. But hey, I'm getting actual money, so that's nice. Tile 1 head dent from the headphones. I do look kind of like I have one if I've been wearing them, because it flattens the hair down underneath. And I think that I do have like a natural slight sort of ridge going on where my fucking skull bones join, but the headphone dent thing's a meme. It's not actually real. It's the least of my problems anyway, when I've got a... like, if I've had my head shaved or whatever, because I made the discovery when I went through basic training that my head is a box. I must actually be a secret German. It was horrifying. Like, my head is genuinely just a fucking box. It looks ridiculous. So thank God I will not go bald as I get older. It's one thing I don't have to worry about. Some people look good, rocking the bald look, you know, the old chrome dome. I do not. I really don't. Yeah, the Thalian head bulge. Oh man.
Sonaki traffic, Booker 1-1, taking off runway 09.
So both Su-27 slots were taken when I got in, which is not really a surprise. But there were a couple of 29 slots open, so I figure we'll start with the 29. We may shift to the 21 or the 19 later, depending how I'm feeling. I don't think we'll go to the F1. I mean, we might, but probably not. I did have a bit of a reconciliation with the F1 recently, off-stream, of course. This stuff always happens off-stream. I was flying with Robbo, and actually I think I've kind of cracked how to fight in the F1. I still think that the light fighters, the 21, the 19, the F5 are superior in a merge, but if you get the hang of the F1, you can do some stuff with it. It does have some moves. It's just a bit harder. You've got to kind of be more ahead of the aircraft, because it takes longer to respond.
Snacky traffic, Broker 1-1, clear of runway 09.
But in this mission, I genuinely don't think the F1 should be on red. The reason the F1 is useful on red in normal ECW is that it gives us a counterpart to the Viggen, a fast, low-level strike aircraft with a decent payload, which the MiG-21 lacks. You know, the Su-25 isn't fast, the MiG-21 doesn't have a good payload, so we kind of don't have a good strike aircraft, and that's what the F1 provides. Now, in this mission, we don't need any of that, and so I think the F1 is kind of moot on red team. And I would prefer it to be blue in this mission. I'm trying to remember what my fucking binds are. Damn it, Gurn. See a guy tipping his MiG in the rear view mirror? No, I didn't. I wasn't looking. Also, the F1 isn't a triangle, Gurn. The F1's the arrow wing. 2000, well, 3, 5, and 2000 are the triangles. Not sure how long today's stream's going to go. I don't want to be up late tonight because obviously I got work in the morning tomorrow. I need to be conscious for that. But we'll see how we go. I got a few things to do around the flat as well before the weekend's over. I was going to go hang out with some of my sister's friends tonight, but I think the logistics are going to be a bit too problematic. So I'll have to catch up with them some other time. I've actually got to plan my weekends now, it's terrifying. 339 for 84. We're not going to turn into him yet. We're just going to continue climbing kind of northeast, get some altitude, turn in, get some speed, and then we'll start sorting for an engagement. There's bombers coming in as well. About 80 k's behind that Tomcat, so it might be an idea to just not engage him at all, let somebody else distract him and waste his missiles on them, and then we go for the bombers. There's a Vigan in amongst them. Vigans aren't too worrying against 29. Oh, there's an F-14B with the bombers. The B is the one that carries the Phoenixes in this mission, so that is actually worrying. Looks like the Vigan might have dropped back or dived. Vigans in this presumably would mostly be doing seed work, but there's always one that wants to pretend they're a fighter. I'm not sure whether I should be embarrassed that I forgot how to use the rockets and bombs and needed to resort to that, or if I should be proud that I actually pulled it off. But I don't get to fly the Vigan as much as I'd really like to be honest, so I tend to forget things quite fast. Bit of both, yeah. Probably, Marksy. Good to see you, man. Hope you're having a good one. There's a fair few things in DCS where I just don't fly them often enough to remember how to do shit. So there's always that kind of period of readjustment, which always seems to happen on stream. There's our bombers. They're a bit far out to grab. Oh, we dropped back to... That would explain it. We dropped back to search. Somebody was jamming. Probably the F-14. Yeah, I've been alright. Just busy. Settling into the job. Yeah, there's the jammer. That'll be the Tomcat, almost certainly. Got to remember as well, they've got those new models for the B-52s, which I haven't really seen up close yet.
Let's go, good check. Roger that.
Now, because the 14B has Phoenixes, we do need to bear that in mind. And not make ourselves too easy of a target for him. Also, ideally, we don't want to be the first thing he sees. Something we had success doing before was waiting for the 14s to start engaging somebody else and then pouncing on them as they were launching their Phoenixes. So if we can repeat that, that might be good. Okay, the bombers are over there. Got some decent altitude now. 14s dropped back or dived. What I'd like is for him to be one of the clueless Tomcats that launches all his Phoenixes then turns cold because he doesn't know how they work, but I doubt we're going to be that lucky. I think we got a friendly out there in amongst the bombers already.
Thunder 9-4 ready for takeoff.
Go up to mill power here. So we're getting a bit close. I do want to burn off that fuel in the belly tank so I can get rid of it. Yeah, there's a big clusterfuck happening there. We've got some enemy fighters. I reckon that might be our 14. Don't like STTing, especially from this far out, kind of telegraphs our intent, but I can't TWS him while I've got a jammer on the scope, so we're just going to have to deal with it. We're going to start going into burner. Ideally burn off the last of that belly tank, but if we can't get it burnt off, surely we'll just punch it off regardless. Are you able to fly planes in real life? I have about 50 hours of flying time, 15-ish of that solo, so I can fly. I just don't have my actual license yet. I ran out of spare time and money before I could do my check flight and my final exams, so it might be something I can pick back up now that I've got some decent pay coming in from work. Okay, we're going to ditch the belly tank now. There wasn't much left in it anyway. There's our bombers. Looks like this guy's reasonably far out. That might be him doubling back. Nope, that's him down low. Okay. Looks reasonably large, so it could well be a Tomcat. It's returning hostile on the IFF, so we'll go for this guy. There might be a second following him in, or it could be a friendly, I'm not sure which. Never mind, he just got splashed. What else we got in front of us? Looks like... I can't tell. Okay, we've got a hostile here. Probably a Tomcat, so we're going to try and clap some of these fighters, just so we don't get clapped while going for the bombers. Splash. 304 on the deck, F-15. Oh shit, there's stuff everywhere. It's hostile. That could well be our 15. I think we'll leave the bombers to the other guys. We're just going to deal with fighters. Missiles coming from behind. Ah, couldn't outrun it. I don't think we're going to get him. I got a little too fast for my controls there. I should have trimmed that out. The MiG-29's controls get quite unmanageable as you go through transonic, especially at low level. It's one of those quirks of the aircraft that you have to bear in mind, otherwise you relearn it in a very painful manner, as we just saw.
Copy.
Phantom 90 comms check. Let's go, you can check.
Rearming complete.
I probably should have extended away after that first kill. You don't really want to plow into a group like that if you don't know what's going on. That's the problem with the MiG-29. If you don't have a GCI, which we don't, you don't really know what you're flying into, because once you get close it becomes really difficult to work the radar and figure out what's going on. Like, your situational awareness really isn't that good. So I've got to stop flying like I would if I had a GCI and start flying a bit more cautiously, I think. With the Su-27, that's less of an issue because you have the data link, so you can see on the display what's going on, what's around you. Oh, we got two! We got two, so I guess we got that 15. So that's, not sure what the first was, probably a Tomcat, and then a 15 on our first sortie. That's not bad. Not bad. I will take it. Let's go ahead and taxi on one engine. I've just got to make sure the damper is up and running before we take off. Otherwise, we're going to have an interesting time. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Somebody on the runway. You want a bit of forward stick when you light the cans on the 29, because you see the way that the nose suddenly surges upwards. She really wants to get into the sky, and if you don't catch that in time, and especially if you've trimmed nose up, you'll smash the tail on the ground. You'll probably break your afterburner pedals and cause all sorts of problems for the jet. So you've got to bear that in mind when you take off in the 29. It's part of why I prefer flying this in a purely sort of, you know, feeling of flight sense to the Su-27. The 27's an excellent aircraft, very capable, but the 29 just feels more raw, more untamed. Makes it more fun, in my opinion. I don't really find the relative lack of endurance, either in terms of fuel or weaponry, compared to the 27 to be an issue more often than not, especially on a mission like this where you're defending. The main issue I have with the 29 when I'm flying solo like this is lack of situational awareness. Like I said, that'd be offset by a GCI, which is how these would operate anyway. Even in frontal aviation, they would have some sort of ground control structure. But DCS multiplayer being what it is, you can't always guarantee that. Do a flip? I just about did. So I was a little slow on the stick there. Looks like some of those bombers are still going to get through. It does strike me as very odd on this mission how quiet Red is. There's very little coordination between aircraft. There's no GCI. Like, this mission is made for Red to have a GCI and people flying in pairs or fours or whatever, and you don't see it.
Delta 90, is there enemy here?
B-52 is reporting cold, so he may have been damaged and turned for home, in which case he's not a problem. It's good to destroy them, but if they're turning for home and they're not going to get to the target area, that's mission accomplished. So no point risking R-29 to do anything about it.
For the bombers.
Force cap. 4 cap.
About 330 direct from Coboletti, or from Coboletti if you want to sort of dogleg in, you can fly about 045050 and turn your radar to the left scan zone and use that. If you're in a MiG-29 or a Su-27. If you're not in one of those, then you can't change your scan zone, so you probably just want to fly direct 330. It's a friendly that's picked up.
Отказ систем. Смотри экран.
Hey Spooky, cheers for the Prime sub. Good to see you. Okay, it's all fighters at the moment, and they're mostly to our northwest. So I think that wave of bombers might have been defeated. I hope that wave of bombers was defeated. I'd be a little upset if I threw away a MiG-29 for nothing. Well, not for nothing, we killed some of their fighters, but you know what I mean. So the mission victory condition is that a certain percentage of the blue bombers have to make it to their target, which is, I believe, Kutaisi. It's not a large percentage on the face of it, but when you look at the actual number required, it's quite a lot of bombers that have to get through. So as long as Red make at least some attempt to intercept them, they should hopefully have a good shot at winning the mission. I didn't expect them to win this mission last time I flew it, because they didn't seem to be doing a lot of intercepting at the start, but it turns out they did by a reasonable margin of safety.
What's heading from Senaki to the bombers?
Best setting is like 330, 340. If you see those blue boxes on the map, that's the path that bombers travel along.
Gotcha.
Be careful not to stray too far over the water to the west or the northwest, because that's where the US carrier is, and it will get very angry at you. Okay, someone's jamming. Probably that Harrier. Could be a Tomcat, but it's probably the Harrier. The R-27 does home on jam, so that's an option. However, I'd like to, first of all, know that I'm shooting at an enemy, not a friendly who's dumb enough to turn a jammer on, and second of all, I'd like to shoot within a reasonable range.
Sonaki traffic, broker 11, taking off runway 09.
I don't remember if DCS simulates it at all, but in real life, if you are being jammed like this, you can lock the contact up, just, you know, with an angle-only track, and then your GCI data link will provide you the range measured from ground stations. So you actually do have pretty much all the parameters you need to launch a missile. But like I said, I don't remember if DCS models that. Sun glare's making it kind of hard to read the SPO. That's enemy air defense, it looks like. From very far out.
Sonaki traffic, broker 11, clear of runway 09.
I'm getting logged. I don't know, it's final level 4.
Okay, that might actually be a Tomcat. It's a little too far to the right to be the Harrier, and the Harrier's way below me anyway.
I am in contact.
262. I think he's just come off the boat. Or he's coming from the direction of the boat. Scan sectors in the MiG-29 are 55 degrees. They overlap by 5 degrees, I think, 5 or 10 degrees. So the left scan zone should give us vision out to roughly the angle he's coming in from. He should be right near our gimbal. I think that should be Zugdidi or Sonaki beneath us. One of the two. 6'2" for 76 kilometers. He's 7.7 kilometers. Yeah, he's still a ways out. There we go. We got a contact resolved and dropped. Flank right, yep, okay, that's why. Let me kick the scale out. Okay, so he's just past 50 kilometers. We should pick him up pretty soon. We're going to chance going back to TWS. We lost him. We're going to go back to search. There's the second one. I don't think that's the same guy. So there's quite a lot of angular difference between them. 268 for 55, so he's getting kind of close. That's not him locking me though, that's somebody else. It might be the Eagle. .267 for 55, cold. Okay, that would explain a few things, and he's kind of low-ish. At that range, I'm pretty sure he's out of range for low pulse repetition and for automatic. They're both quite short-ranged modes. I forget the exact numbers though. I also don't know if DCS models those range limits accurately at the moment. I just know that they are shorter ranged. Okay, 267 for 53. It's so much easier with the GCI because they can do all this work for you. You don't need to do it mentally yourself. Okay, we've got somebody there. We're going to go for them. He says, dropping the contact immediately. That's the F-15. That's probably him jamming. I think the F-15C has a built-in jammer, right? That'll be him. Belly tank's empty, we're going to drop it, we're going to go into afterburner and begin accelerating.
Anybody farm upon me?
Oh, F-15's gone cold. 329. Is it F-14B? I don't like this. 14B is dangerous, he might lob a Phoenix at us.
I recommend you head to the Discord server.
So we're going to swing back around to the left, we're going to break off that engagement, I don't like it. Okay, 281 for 29, that's... Chicks 1.4, he's on the deck. What is a Tomcat doing down there? He's dropped off picture, he might be behind terrain or he might have got splashed. There is a friendly down there. We're not going to dive all the way down, we're just going to point the radar down there. It doesn't see anything except the friendly. I'm going to take that as good enough that the 14's been dealt with, and we're going to hook back around to the right. 55k is 349. He's slightly below. Probably the jammer. .006 is getting quite close. There's bombers coming in as well, it looks like. 020 is now cold and low.
Confirm 90 ready for taxi.
Be down in the mountains probably. That lock's coming from my left. I think that might be a Phoenix, or a very long Sparrow.
Скорость предельная. Скорость предельная.
301. 43. Hot. There's a F-15 as well. I really don't like this. Okay, here we go, here's something. Being locked by air defense to my left, it might be friendly picking me up. Trying to lock these guys. I don't like that second con. That's probably another one of theirs or a missile. This guy's committing on me.
Осталось 1500 килограмм. Осталось
We don't want to bank too steeply. The radar's only stabilized to 120 degrees of roll. Okay, he's been killed. I think. We'll just let the missile keep tracking for now. Just in case. You never know with the damage model on the F-15. What are you? You're not in range for that yet. Now you are. You're friendly. Okay. How about this guy? Oh! Phoenix? Hawk! I did not get a single fucking warning for that. What the fuck? I mean, maybe it was directly under me, because you don't... Oh, we're going to swap to a 27, so I have some situational awareness. I'm sorry anyone that wanted to see the MiG-29, but I don't want to get myself too frustrated getting clapped by shit I didn't see. Plus, I don't fly this thing that often anymore. It could have been directly under us, in which case we wouldn't have got a warning, but that seems unlikely. I don't know what the fuck happened there. It was weird. Yeah, we'll just go with all 6. It's a little draggy, but we're probably going to need them. We'll go full fuel. It's going to take a while to refuel, but we want it, because we want to be able to loiter a bit.
Copy.
That was so bizarre. So something to be aware of in the, certainly in the Soviet planes, I think the Blue Force stuff does this too, although I'm told the Blue Force stuff shouldn't do this, certainly not to the same extent. Your RWR can only see a certain cone, like, if you imagine your aircraft horizontally, like a plan view of your aircraft, it can see in front and either side and behind, but it can't see directly above or below. It's, if you think of the RWR's coverage, it's more of a sort of donut, like a...
So 122 kilometers.
Yeah, donut, I guess. So you can't see above or below. So you need to be aware of that, particularly in a steep bank in the MiG-29 and the C-27. You can't see something that might be, like, from a top-down plane, it might be left of you, where you'd expect to see it, but because you've got such a steep bank angle, the sensor can't see it anymore. So that's got me killed a few times, but I don't think that was what happened there. I think what happened there was the Hawk was directly under me. So probably I got a bit too far north. But it was still a little odd. I never got a warning on it at all. We didn't get anything that sorty, so we've now got 2 for 3. That should improve in the Su-27, because at least we can see what's coming. I probably should actually provide GCI for this event at some point. I just don't really feel like doing it today. I want to fly today. Like, I've got the day off. I want to fly. And it can get pretty frustrating doing GCI, especially on a server like this where you don't even know how many people are on comms, or they might not be on the same frequency because half of them have their frequencies set up wrong. It's just... It's an important job, and I sit here and complain when we don't have one, but it is a difficult one to do sometimes. Should be done refueling in a sec.
Refueling complete.
Okay, I'm gonna call that, yeah, rearmament complete, there we go. So there's no R-73s in this mission. We're running with the PVO loadout of R-27s only. I'm not taking the Sorbitsia pods because there's not a lot of point. Yeah, you probably can manually blink jam them to trash missiles, but it's also going to make me vulnerable to friendly missiles. They might home on jam. Even if it's not shot at me, it's shot at somebody else, it might still just see me and go, ooh, this is way more interesting. Seen it happen. I also don't want to be snowing out my teammates' radar scopes and giving them the same headaches that I get when I see somebody doing it. So we're not going to bother with the Sorbitsias. Maybe we'll try it in a sortie later on, but usually I don't bother with them. It's just one extra thing to have to deal with, right? Ask me how much I care, gun. You got it. Ain't give a damn.
Fox 1. Radio check.
When are we going to get some new point sinks to the channel? I don't know, man. I've got to think up something that's worth sinking points on. I just don't have the time to put the thought into it. I'm going to be real with you. Yeah, I know. It is what it is.
Right now.
Hey Trip, good to see you, man. It's good to be able to catch you streaming earlier as well, finally. It's been a fair while since I was able to do that. For anyone here who doesn't already, go give Trip a follow. That's not a request. It's friendly air defense picking me up while it tries to lock these guys. I can see a Phoenix on the data link. This thing here with a really long velocity vector, that's a Phoenix. Or it's a missile of some type, but most likely a Phoenix. I know, right? Yeah, I gotta get back into doing DCS stuff, at least on the weekends and on my... So I'm working 4 days a week at the moment, just while I kind of settle into things, and particularly while I still don't have the full sort of technical knowledge to get into the heavier projects. So I can at least get some flying in maybe in the middle of the week or over the weekends. Okay. Looks like some bombers coming in plus fighter escort. We're gonna go into burner to start building some airspeed up. That's a bomber I've got boxed at the moment, but if I can, I'd prefer to deal with the fighters and let the 21s and the Mirages deal with the bombers and the 19s. You know, the more capable fighters should probably be fending off the Tomcats and F-15s. 21s and 19s can certainly still kill them if they catch them in the right moment, but it's a lot easier on them if we do the hard work. Do have a secondary threat for a fighter radar, so I'm probably getting locked by at least one of these guys at the moment, but the strongest signal's still coming from that friendly air defense behind. Somebody just got splashed over there. One of those contrails will be our contact. We're going to lock him. And we're going to commit. We might drop him in a second because he's turned... Yep, he's turned flank. May have also been splashed because he was pretty close. I should probably also remember to turn this on. That would be helpful, so I have a little extra situational awareness. We've got a contact close. Faded. 3.9. And cold. I think he was about off the nose. Okay. Never mind. We're going to turn away from that for the moment, and looks like there's a friendly in a spot of bother here. Actually, that's probably him. 351. There he is. There he was. Being locked up by a fighter from behind. It's probably a friendly that's trying to lock him or doesn't know what he's looking at. Get my radar in the right mode. That might help. 18.4 Ks. There you are. He is turning cold, but he's also quite low, so we should have a decent amount of speed on him. Actually, he's kind of hauling.
Some inbound for Snacky, runway 09.
Hopefully he'll recommit into us or drop some speed. Give us a chance at a shot. Looks like he is kind of following that valley a bit. We are closing slowly. He's climbing, so that should hopefully bleed some speed off as well. A nice lazy lead pursuit. He's going to recommit, it looks like, and the second he does, he's going to get a missile in the face. We'll send a 27T just in case. We're going to start flaring in case of a cheeky aim 9, and there's the kill. So much easier when you have that data link display. Like, even if it's only showing your, like, even if you don't have an actual data link and it's only displaying what your radar can see, having the B-scope display is useful as well.
Snacky traffic,
well, not the B-scope, I guess PPI is what it is, PPI display. Because B-scope, the way it works is it stretches the resolution at the bottom and compresses it at the top to give you a square or a rectangle, whereas PPI gives you a pie slice, right? Pie slice represents the actual angles of things, whereas the B-scope, because of that stretch to give you more resolution the closer you get, it can make it a little hard to intuit the angles if you're dumb, like me. Going normie on us, I know it's terrifying, isn't it? I'm gonna circle back now and extend a bit. I don't want to get too close. Don't want to get into a big shit fight without knowing what's ahead of me. So we'll circle back, we'll regain some altitude, and then we'll recommit. I'm still very much at the point at work where I feel like somebody's going to jump out of a closet at me and be like, you don't belong here. Like, you know, when you're playing Metal Gear Solid or something and you loot a uniform off a guard to try and blend in and you walk past an officer. That's what I feel like. It's like, it's not just imposter syndrome, it's like, I feel very much out of place completely here. But that'll probably pass at some point. We'll see. PVR mission? Yep. Just reminded me that my sister came back from a music festival in Cali when New Order played a set. Tears for Fears as well. Nice. I'm still mad I didn't get to see New Order when they were out here. I mean, it was New Order minus Hookie, but it was still, you know, the rest of the band. I would have really liked to see them. But I missed tickets because I was going to buy them, but they didn't go on sale until after I'd left for work at the time. And by the time I got home from work, they were all sold out. I was not happy. OMD. And Human League, Jesus. Oh, that would have been awesome. Oh, I'm getting sloppy. I need to range out my radar. There we go. 275 for 86. I'm going to swing left. It's going to take me towards their ships, but I just don't want to be committing directly into this Tomcat's face. Don't want to give him a really tempting, easy target for his fucking Phoenixes, because it is a... Oh no, that's an A. Okay, that's a little less scary. But I still don't want to be an easy target for him. Still got 6,000 or 5,800 litres of fuel, or kilos of fuel, sorry, so we've got plenty of gas left. We can afford to be a little fast and loose with it. This guy is committing on the guys to my right, it looks like. He's also got a friendly with him, so they might be dogfighting. They're down low. The thing currently locking me is air defense. Possibly their ships. Or possibly another Hawk side, even. Actually, no, it'd be ships. Hawk won't lock from that far out. Okay, I think that Tomcat got splashed, so now we got 339 for 78. Flanking right. Got another aircraft coming in from the carrier, but I don't want to press him out over the water, because that's a good way to catch an SM-2. Even though I'm pretty sure the ships in this scenario should not have had SM2s, they should have had SM1s, but that's something to complain to ED about. It's not Ligma's fault. Not that functionally it makes a huge amount of difference, to be honest. Some newer bands that also have the new wave sound, but also the OG's played some. Yeah, that's good. Get a good mix in. The old hands and the new blood. No bombers currently on scope. Probably means that a new wave should be coming in relatively soon. But we're mostly going to concern ourselves with fighters for now. I probably do, yeah. I'm not known for deleting things. Okay. I think we've got some bombers starting to come in now, unless that might be that tanker, actually. Somebody down there. Because of the cold air and the humidity settings and so on and so forth, the cons form really, really low in this mission, which is very aesthetic. Also makes it harder for people to hide. probably not be sitting on mill power. It's kind of wasteful. We're also getting a little far into the mountains, so we're gonna swing it around. I do have a bunch of friendly aircraft conga lined out in front of me, so, you know, if they're not being shot at, then I'm probably fine, but I just don't want to get too aggressive yet. .327 for 75, flank left, on the deck, relatively speaking, because he's in the mountains, F-15. I'd say that's what the friendlies are all chasing. They're all down the valley chasing him. Because, you know, single functional neuron between all of them, probably. We got another hostile coming in, though. A bit further out. Yes. That's what I got boxed. I can't TWS him because I've got a jammer on display, but that's what I'm boxing. There's that thing there. We're going to commit towards him. Not going to commit on him, but we're going to commit towards him, and then once the distance is closed a bit, we'll commit properly. Okay, he's now under 100 Ks. Centering him up on the nose. He's not quite flying directly at us. We're going to kick the radar scan zone to the right and put him not on the right gimbal, but close to it. That should also hopefully drop that fucking jammer off our scope. There we go. And we got him boxed up. Phoenix. Most likely. Probably fired pretty far out, maybe even in STT, so not a huge concern. 326. 57. I didn't see the altitude. Oh, that's that really fast contact. Oh, he's... That might be a Phoenix I'm looking at. 339. Yeah, we're not going to go for that. That's not worth it. Too risky. I think that's a Phoenix. That's way too high up to be a fighter, unless he's doing some ballistic climb shit. Which he probably isn't, because I'm the only person weird enough to do that on a multiplayer server. Or me and Egg. The only ones that do it. We'll just stick with this guy. Looks like he's fairly low down. Do you have another friendly headed towards him down on the deck? That's okay. Dropped him. Okay, he might have gone down. 358 for 68, flank right. Fuel's still okay. 5,000, slightly below 5,000 kilos. Got more contacts out over the water. They'll be coming in from the ships. I don't want to get too close. 004 now. For 73, cold. No point chasing him if he's running for home. Those are bombers incoming, I think, but we picked them up way out. They just popped up on the edge of the data link display there, so they're at least 200 Ks away. Still got quite a bit of time before they turn up. 006 for 69 in the weeds. Interesting. probably not going to see him very well because he's probably in a valley. $59, 2.5. Hot. He's going to try and draft me, and he might even get away with it. Is that him? Oh, we dropped it. Yeah, that was him. 009 for 49. 3.3. Flank right. Yeah, he's off the nose, he's cold. We're going to break off. No point chasing him into a hawk site again. He might recommit now. We're going to wheel around to the right. You come above contrails. Huh. So the con forming height's quite low, and the con ending height, if that makes sense, is quite low as well. Okay, he's still cold. We got 2 friendlies coming up. We'll probably resume the chase. We do have incoming over here, which appears to be the bombers. We've also got incoming off the nose, which is probably a Tomcat coming in from the boats. Oh, we got to recommit here. I think that's the jammer. Maybe not. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the jammer. I can see him visually just barely. Yeah, that's the F-15. 334, 65, metrics 5.5. So 5.5 kilometers altitude, flanking left. It's an F-15. Looks like he's engaging those guys. We've got no other real big threats hot except an F-14A, which I'm not as worried about. We're gonna see what this guy does. I don't really think we're closing much on him, but I know the second I break off he's gonna recommit. We're just gonna... Yeah, he's still flanking left. Okay, we're gonna break off him, because he's dragging us for this other guy. That... interesting. That's a 2-ship? Okay, we're out. It's a Hawk. So we did get a warning that time. Well, we got dragged pretty convincingly. 315. 7 kilometers altitude. 45 kilometers range. That's probably him. Yeah, we'll just range that out to... Don't like having him hard locked like that, but it looks like he's tunnel visioned on a friendly anyway, so we might get away with it. Quite slow closure at the moment. 2,500 kilos of fuel, so this will probably be our last engagement, or certainly second last at best. 10 kilometers altitude now, so this guy's slightly above. I think this is actually a different guy. There's the coast, so we're going to be kind of getting risky with the ships here. .003 for 49. Okay, so that's not that F-14. This is a different F-14. This is the second guy, 46 kilometers. He's very much tunnel visioned on that friendly. We should get a decent angle here, but I'm not sure we'll get the closure we need for a shot. We're way faster than he is, but he's not giving us a great aspect. He's probably going to go cold. Okay, that's an SM2. Brilliant. That's exactly what I was afraid of. We're going to have to abandon this engagement, I think. We've got an enemy way closer to us, it looks like, anyway. Very low. I really need to RTB. Can't really afford to engage this guy, and that SM2 is probably going to hit me if I keep this up, so I need to get out. He's recommitted. Splash. Oh, we're very low on fuel. I don't think we're going to make it home. We're definitely not going to make it home. That SM2 may get us. But this might be Sanaki. Oh, not Sanaki. Sakumi to our left. Oh, it is. It is. But we just lost our engines. .41 kilometers, but we don't really have the altitude to do this. Yeah, we're not making it home. I should have paid more attention to my fuel state. Shouldn't have taken that engagement. So you carry a lot of fuel in a Su-27, but if you're careless like me, you burn through it very quickly. And I don't think we're going to have the same luck we had last time, where we were close enough to just glide it in. We're too low. And also there's like 0 vis over the airfield, so we've got 32 kilometers. Well, 17 to the actual end of the runway, the far end of the runway. But we're getting kind of slow and we're very, very low on altitude. And we still got to make a pretty harsh turn to get there.
Выпустить шасси. 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 Выпустить шасси.
Yes, I know. Shh, quiet, Rita. You're distracting me. 12. Oh, we might. Problem is I can't see the fucking runway. And we are super, super low. We've got a huge sink rate going on, which is why we were retaining our speed so well. 10 kilometers. No, we're not going to make it. Shit. There's the coastline. We're below the trees. We're pretty much no way we make it. Although, is that it? I think that's the actual airfield there, I hope. Like I said, we don't really have the airspeed, but we can at least eject near it? Question mark? Come on. No, we're not going to make it. We just don't have the airspeed or the altitude. We'll just get as close to the shore as we can, and we'll chalk this one up as a lesson learned about fuel management. That's the runway right in front of me. I was that close to making it. If I just laid off the burner a little bit, I might have got away with that. Oh my god, what's been happening down here? Oh, that's what's been happening down here. Monkeys. I thought I made a loadout for this, but I guess not.
Request refueling. Request rearming. Copy.
We're up to 8 kills, apparently. So that's something, I guess. I don't know how we're up to 8 kills. I wasn't keeping track, but... So where we just crashed was like right there. I could actually see the terminal buildings and just see the outline of the runway. We were so close, man. We were like probably 2 Ks from the end of the runway. That's frustrating, but I only got myself to blame. That's where the US ships are. They're really quite close to the shore. I mean, if you look at it there, About 160 Ks to our airbase, 120 to Sukumi, and they'll fire at about 100 with the SM2s, I think. SM2s are fucking scary, man. Yeah, really close. You have a lot of fuel in the Su-27, but you go through it faster than you expect to, because the AL-31s guzzle it down when they're in afterburner. Especially at low out, which I was there. I didn't realize how low I got. Go ahead and pop up the anti-glare sunshade on the HUD, just because I know it's going to be a problem as soon as we're airborne. Time is it? Just past 2 in the afternoon, so not too bad. Like I said, I don't want to stream too late today because I've got work tomorrow. I've got a few things to do around the house, so... probably this event will end in a couple of hours, I suspect. So we might just call it when the event's over. Or shortly afterwards, anyway. Stream schedule's probably going to be non-existent for a while. It'll just be when I can fit it in when I have the energy, so probably not more than 1 or 2 a month. The green radar on a Su-27 just looks so right. The livery I'm using has one as well, you just can't see it because no external views.
Refueling complete.
Oh, we're getting stutters and it's not replying to me with EWR, so the server might be going down now. Possibly. And he's frozen, so yeah, that might be it. Possibly. Oh, or just some desync, I'm not sure. Just desync, I guess. .9 and Ligma's server have not been playing nice together. There's been a lot of aircraft teleporting around, a lot of stuttering. The aircraft teleporting around, I went through an exhaustive thing of why it happens on Ligma's server. It's basically the interpolation system the game uses to figure out where the client position is reporting versus where the server predicts the client to be. And it's got to split the difference between them. It's basically just technical netcode stuff. It's not because of people with high pings, that makes no impact on it. It's not because of, you know, anything like that. What it is the server box is struggling to process all the requests to it. And so it has to economize on what it processes, and the first thing to get cut is the interpolation of objects, but chiefly aircraft, in a way that if they're at a high angle of attack or a high rate of change of direction, like high roll rate, high, you know, really rapid spin or something, they'll just start teleporting around the place. If they're flying more gently, it's usually okay. The other thing you'll see is aircraft stopping in midair and then teleporting, like just pinging around the sky. That's usually because the actual client has frozen. The person's PC is a potato or has desynced with the server really badly. And so they're not reporting their position at all, and the server will estimate, like extrapolate where it thinks they're going for a while. So you'll see planes kind of, they'll start going okay, and then they'll gradually start sliding in a way that doesn't make sense, and then they'll hover in the air. That's what's happening. They'll start to slide and then stop because the server's struggling to extrapolate their motion from what their previous reported position was, and that's why that happens. So it's not high ping players. That's a common fucking myth that is as old as the hills. High ping players do not cause netcode problems in the overwhelming majority of games. And if they do cause problems, it's chiefly for themselves. Like, they're not going to fuck up the server just because they have a high ping. But it's an easy, like an easy, convenient excuse for people to kind of run with. So that's usually who gets the blame. So to shorten it, basically, because of something in 2.9, the server's a bit more heavily loaded than usual when it comes to processing stuff on Ligmas. There's a lot of scripts running in the background. Probably some of them misfiring or broken as well because of the update, and that's what causes it. Be nice if I could get a single fucking sortie where I actually RTB this time. I did last time, several actually, but this time it's been a bit more catastrophic for me because I'm very, very out of practice and I'm not making the best decisions, clearly. Okay, the bombers got through. That's bad. All those contacts flying out cold to the top right of the fucking data link display, those are the bombers. They got through. Shit. There's no point chasing them because they despawn once they're a certain distance past their target. But yeah, they got through. Hopefully Ewan's going to have enough one day like open conflict server. Don't know. I know he, like, oh, we're diving, we should probably watch our instruments. I know he's having a lot of trouble trying to reconcile the time he spends on the server with, you know, the amount of time he spends doing work and then having a life outside of work. Who does that? We've got a bunch of contacts kind of reasonably close. But they're mostly cold. There's something. Kind of on the edge of the range where low pulse rate will pick them up. Will automatic? Oh yes, automatic will. Briefly. But these guys are mixed altitude. This one's low. I'm gonna drop him. Yep.
Dispatch 1, radio check.
Loud and clear.
Yep. Loud and clear also, thank you.
He's recommitted. We're also scanning the wrong sector, which probably doesn't help. Lost him. Okay. I can see the friendly next to it. Oh, that's chasing him. I just can't see him. I think he's slightly above me. And being that I think he's slightly above me, this might actually be a time where we do this. That's probably not him. That's probably one of the friendlies. Why the fuck is this guy? How do I not see him? That's cold. That's probably him. No? Maybe? Radar's illuminating, so it should be IFFing him. Oh yeah, that's him. That's him. And we wasted a missile because someone else got him. It's a Tomcat. We got 2 ship back here. Pair of 14s, an A and a B. That's no bueno. So we're going to put them on the gimbal.
Oh yeah, fucker. 41 months.
Hey Polo, cheers to the resub, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you. And turns out I need IFF because I don't want to team kill someone. Was that a Phoenix? That was a Phoenix, surely. I can't even eject. That was on me. I should have been flying more aggressively with a fucking 14B that close. It'll be a Phoenix. Yeah, we're not having the best run of things today, Polar. I'm a bit monkey mode. Meanwhile, Tomcat got sledged by 21 just then, so hey, at least that happened. We can't find out what actually hit us until we hit the ground, because I can't eject. My pilot's not dead, he's just permanently G-locked, because the jet's probably fucking spinning like a top as it goes down. Flegma quit, so am I. There's still some other good servers up. Not so much for Cold War stuff, but certainly other stuff. I got team killed by a fucking MiG-21, are you serious? I thought that was a bit weird. Like, yeah, there were F-14Bs around, but they weren't that close. Cool, now we get to spend another 10 minutes refueling this thing. I love MiG-21 players who don't know how to use their IFF. Truly, I do. And most of them that don't know how to use their IFF probably don't use it because they're told, don't use the radar, it gives your position away.
Request refueling.
Okay.
Request rearming.
Let's at least get this thing fueled up.
Copy.
Yeah, who needs IFF? Not that guy, apparently. Fuck's sake, man. Wait, not even a Mirage. A 21. At least a Mirage has the excuse that he doesn't have fucking IFF at all. Room temperature? I don't know if I'd even say room temperature at this point. It's like outside temperature IQ. But yeah, the other thing is, don't forget there's still the Dogs of War server, which is a bunch of the guys from Alpin's running some of Alpin's old missions brought up to date to still be playable, plus some new ones they've made. It doesn't populate as frequently as Alpin's did, mostly just because people don't seem to know it's a thing. So for anyone that used to play on Alpin's and is like jonesing, bear that in mind. Dogs of War, go there. And also, I expect Alpin probably will come back at some point, maybe after the Phantom releases. He's just obviously busy with a new kid, so... Man's got his priorities right, unlike the rest of us. Phil 370 stat IQ, yep, yep. Truly. So that's now our 6th death. That one was to a teammate. We had 5 to the enemy. Well, no, 4 to the enemy and 1 to my own stupid self because I ran out of fuel. So we're certainly not doing as well this time as we did last time we flew this mission. We have knocked down, what, 8 aircraft? I don't know how we knocked down 8 aircraft. I only consciously remember killing like 3 or 4, but I'll take it. Can afford to play at their time zone now. Yeah, similar problem for me. Especially with work now, it's really hard. Because either I've got to be leaving for work at the time the server populates, or like if it's the weekend or whatever, I've got to wake up the time I'd normally wake up for work, which is usually gonna give me the shits. But I'm gonna have to start trying to hop on weekend mornings when I can, just to see if I can populate it. Because we do need to get people playing that server. Getting old sucks, yeah. Yep. Truly does. Nearly done refueling. We're still outnumbered badly. Imagine my shock. Blue 4 stacking? Surely they wouldn't. It was already stacked when I got on, but not quite as badly.
Refueling complete.
I had been planning to play some DCS over the past week or two. Whether on stream or not, just playing to start with, but I have to admit the issues with the server stuttering have kind of driven me off. I've seen 16 drunk people slip on the ice and fall on their house. Nice. Yeah, we don't get that here, sadly. Got to find other methods of entertainment during the winter.
Rearming complete.
Still can't believe Red, neither time I played this mission, have Red had a GCI. Like, it's just, why? This mission is perfect for it. This is exactly the kind of mission where you would expect one, but nope. I know they had one at some point during the last run, because on Drewski's video you can hear a guy GCIing, but by the time I get on, nope, nobody. Best one is a girl who decided to walk down some icy steps in high heels and fell. Oh, ouch. Ouch to the pride, if not physically ouch. No, we're in the 27. One of the 27 slots opened up and I felt like having some situational awareness, since I'm clearly lacking in skill today. We can at least try and partly offset that. Hey, pleb. Good to see you, man. Okay, we don't want to get too much more northerly pointed than that. I don't want to fly directly into them. So that's probably their ships locking me again. I feel like the ships are a little too close to the shore. Well, I feel like they're a lot too close to the shore, but also this is a Ligma's service, so we know that the blue players would cry and whine endlessly if they had to fly for more than 5 minutes to get to the action. Jammer, that's probably that thing in a clusterfuck of friendlies. I want the two things that are heading towards the guy that's jamming. But I don't think I'm going to get them because they're now cold to me. Just trying to keep them on my radar scope without turning direct north, or God forbid northwest into that ship. Look at all those jammers. Oh man. .325 for 94. F5 hot. 2 F5s. That might be that two ship actually that I was trying to pick out. In fact, I bet that's exactly what that is. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll kill them if they give me the opportunity, but I mostly want to focus on the scary shit like the Tomcats and the 15s. Plus anything that might be doing seed ops or going for our airfields. No, the MiG-29 doesn't have a data link display. That's the thing. On the MiG-29, it's purely a doubler for the HUD in case the sun glares the HUD out or the HUD is damaged. On the Su-27, it does both. It uses the same actual physical display though, so you have the tactical display switch and doubler switch on both of them, even though on the MiG-29 it does nothing, it's inoperable. The MiG-29 in DCS, well, in lock-on, and then early in DCS as a result, used to have a data link display, but it should never have had one. The real aircraft doesn't. Not until you get into the modern ones with the MFDs. Yeah, just R-27s and R-60s, so I'm flying with the PVO loadout of purely R-27s. You don't want to hold him locked. That ship is pissing me off. Fucking jamming! Jesus Christ. It's always whenever I go to TWS something, a jammer immediately pops on. Also, some blue players, very few of them, because these are blue players we're talking about, but some of them are actually aware of blink jamming and how potent it is against both us trying to lock them with our janky radars and missiles. Like a home-on jam missile will have a hard time against somebody blink jamming. Regular missile, forget it. So a few of them I've noticed will do that. I think the Tomcat has an automatic mode for it, or like Jester will do it or something. The Mirage 2000 has an automatic mode for it, I know that. Blink jamming is a real pain in the dick. Okay, that thing that I've got kind of manually boxed is probably a Tomcat. Probably a 14A. So the 14As don't have Phoenixes in this scenario, but they are still dangerous. You see there's a bunch of fighters coming in covering those bombers. Blue have got their shit together. There's a lot of escorts with the bombers this time. 4 or 5 of them peeled off to the left ahead of the bombers and a second group behind them. At least 3 F-14Bs in amongst that. I believe so, yes. Like, if it couldn't, I would be wondering why. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'm not going to fly directly into that. That for sure is going to be that trio of F-14Bs sitting right on top of the bombers, lobbing Phoenixes and stuff. Just want to kick out to the left and deal with this other stuff. It's scary if they know what they're doing. Thankfully, most Tomcat players are fucking brain dead. especially on this server. That is a Phoenix. That thing right there with a really long velocity vector, the two things, they're Phoenixes. So that's actually useful information. We can see their Phoenix launches on our data link if the ground radar can see them. So it's one way that you can kind of tell if you've been launched on or if you're at severe risk of being launched on. The thing that I'm kind of turning towards is probably not a Tomcat, it's probably a Phoenix. So we're going to just keep an eye out ahead of us. One of them's hard locking me. That's that guy. Gem would instantly trash Phoenix if they fire on TWS. I'm not sure, to be honest. It might, in which case maybe it is worth bringing the Silbitsias. Sparrows will home on Jam, so you've got to know that you've been shot at with a Phoenix, not a Sparrow, before you do it. Okay, I need to not commit. That's gonna clap me otherwise. It might even be too late. Yeah, I've got a 14B up my arse. That'll be a Phoenix, probably. He's really close, so I'm not going to be able to outrun it, probably. So we may have encountered a rare Tomcat player that knows to hold his Phoenixes until he's point-blank range. We're going to burn a lot of fuel doing this, but we can hopefully drag him into friendly air defense, or at least friendly aircraft. We're right under the bombers, no wonder he's chasing me. Oh, he's really close. He's catching up to me as well. Might even be worth jettisoning some of my missiles so I can pick up some speed. I'm not accelerating quickly enough. I'm gonna have to commit on this guy and just hope for the best. Oh! Okay, that was a Sparrow. And he ripped his wings, I think? Well done, dude. Well done. Okay, now we can deal with some bombers. Cool. I guess he wasn't as smart as I thought. We'll just clap as many of these as we can and then we'll go home. Because I'm going to be low on fuel. Just worried I'm going to get hit by an escort because there's still escorts covering them, just further out. And we bled a lot of speed in that climb. Come on, come on. Okay, there's the hit. Not sure if these are going to hit on launch or override. The 27Ts are pretty fussy with parameters. Yeah, there's another launch. We'll just try and do as much damage as we can. Oh, that's super close. Yep. Wasn't going to do it. Blue's actually starting to coordinate. I don't know what the fuck red is doing. I know we're badly outnumbered, as usual, but, like, we're just not getting anyone up near these bombers when we need to. It's getting a bit frustrating, to be honest. It will be interesting to watch us back in TAC view and see the difference from last time, because last time Blue lost, but not by a huge margin. There was a margin there, but it wasn't a huge one. So, it'll be interesting to see how they go this time. The difference between how they were operating and how they are now. But I can tell you pretty much straight away that a large part of the problem is that Red just aren't communicating at all. Because last time we didn't have a GCI either, but people were at least talking and generally arriving on the bombers at the same time, and now it's just like... No. That's the only person up there, I think. I got point blanked by... What did I get hit by? Point blanked by... F-15. I think this guy's very confused. Oh no, no, he knows. I was going to say, you can't load R3Rs on the MiG-29, but no, he meant who's team killing with them. So yeah, the bomber's target is between Sanaki and Kutaisi, a bit to the north. So we've got to stop them getting there. And then once they turn away from the target and start heading cold to the northeast, there's no point in engaging them. They've already hit their target. They'll despawn before you get to them, probably. Which is the lesson I learned last time I played this mission. You know what? We might take the Sorbitsiers just to see how we go with them. Like I said, it won't help us any against Sparrows, but yeah, it might be useful with the Phoenixes at least. Hopefully.
Copy.
Hey Duke, good to see you. We're just having to wait forever and a day for the aircraft to fuel and arm. Yeah, see, they're sending F-14Bs in amongst the B-52s and also covering them from further back. So, kudos to Blue, they finally figured it out. F1. Like I was saying earlier, I don't really think the F1 needs to be or should be on red in this mission. I don't think it offers anything. Give us a couple more 29s in its place maybe, or even give us more 21s. The F1 doesn't really offer anything that the 21 can't already do better. In this mission.
Rearming complete.
In the normal ECW missions, it provides us a counterpart to the Viggen for the time being until we get our Su-17M/22M, whichever. But on an interception mission, the Mirage is actually worse than the 21. It has a bit more fuel, but you know, missiles maybe debatably have slightly more reach. I don't actually think the 530 does anymore after the R3R got reworked, but like it doesn't carry more missiles. It doesn't have, functionally speaking, a much better radar. Like the radar is better on paper, but in practice it doesn't really help any. And you don't have IFF, so you have to get within visual range anyway, so you're better off just with a 21. Loud and clear.
4671. Calling. Clear to taxi to runway 25.
Tomcat inbound. Bombers made it through their cold aspect to us. Range it out quite that far. .310 for 103 on the deck. Good place for an F-14, I guess. It's not an altogether bad, if I can speak today, idea for the 14s to come in low-ish and then giraffe us. But that's not what they're doing. I don't think they're just flying low chasing people because they're not very bright. Or they're trying to hide in the mountains. air defense. Probably the boats. Certainly doesn't help when you're trying to fight Tomcats and F-15s and your RWR's getting saturated by a fucking Hazard Perry like about 150 k's offshore. Because the SBO-15 is a fantastic piece of equipment if you like know how to figure out what it's telling you, until it gets saturated by a really powerful radar that blots out what you actually need to know, which is what it's doing now. 34117. It's probably him with the jammer on. Maybe. Just trying to think of the angle. Yeah, it's probably him with the jammer. He's still low. Might be in a dogfight, actually. Because there are some friendlies over there. Starting to think if these 14s are going to be actually covering the bombers, particularly with Phoenixes. Actually, no, that might be him to my left, off the scope at the moment. If they're going to do that, it might even be an idea for us to start giraffe attacking with 21s, just popping up from underneath them and taking a quick swing at them with IR missiles and then diving away, because it makes it harder for the 14s to start clapping people with Phoenixes if they're low against the ground. Not impossible, just harder. Okay, he's turned cold. I'll throttle back a bit. Friendlies over there. 324, 133. One hot, one cold. Okay, so those two contacts there. That's the hot guy, that's the cold guy. It's pretty far out. 133 Ks is not really a concern to me at the moment, especially for an A, because he won't be carrying Phoenixes. So we'll let him close in a bit. He's not pointed directly at me. It looks like he's on an intercept course for these two here, which is just fine. He's either intercepting these two or he's trying to pursue this guy, but I'd say he's probably intercepting these two. We've got some large contacts there, which may be another raid building, or it may be a tanker or something. I suspect it's another raid. So I think their tanker's a bit further east. Okay, he's going cold. Another friendly over there. That ship is driving me up the fucking wall, man. It's a Su-27. We started out with the MiG-29, but because we don't have anyone playing GCI and the team's not really communicating at all, it makes it really kind of difficult when we're outnumbered, which we are significantly as usual. So I figured I'd grab the Su-27 slot while it was open, make it a little easier on myself, because I am very rusty. And also, I don't fly the Su-27 as much anymore as I used to. I used to fly it a lot more frequently. Now it's mostly 29 when I fly the more modern stuff. So it's a bit of variety. We're not doing our best flying today, but we've at least knocked down more than we've been knocked down. I think, actually, no, we're like 1-1, almost 1-1 now. We did get 3 bombers, so we're 11-7, but we were 8-6 before that. 29M mod, because it has data link. The OG MiG-29 has data link as well, it's just not the data link that Western sort of pilled people recognize. It's a GCI data link, not a ship-to-ship. And it doesn't visually represent things like this on a tactical display. It gives you HUD indications and things like ranging data. If you're getting jammed, you can have an angle-only track off the radar, and then you can have the ground control feed you their ranging information between you and the selected target. It's quite sophisticated. The MiG-23 has something similar. It'll be quite nice when the MiG-23 comes, if they're able to simulate that. Or if we get a full fidelity MiG-29, which, fingers crossed, inshallah, we will get one sooner rather than later, because we really need one. But it'll probably take people a bit of getting used to if they're not familiar with it already. It doesn't give you the same degree of situational awareness as having like a full-on tactical display like this in a ship-to-ship, but it certainly gives you some really useful info, and it lets you do some pretty nasty things if you use it right. Why is this beeping? It's because there's a... What is it now? It's the Hawk, I think. There's a Hawk locking us. There's also a bunch of Oliver Hazard Perrys offshore, which were locking us before, so it's just pissing off the RWR non-stop. Kind of annoying, but... I think it's because I'm just high enough up that I'm the first thing that they see, so they're going to lock me and ignore the rest of my teammates that are actually closer to them. Okay, that contact dropped. 274 for 84, that's an F5, I'm not too worried about him. 340 for 89. Hot, F14A, okay, that's actually somewhat threatening. That's probably him there. Yep, that'll be him. We're going to fly kind of an intercept on him. We're not going to fly directly at him. We're going to head to where he's going, because he looks like he's sorted on that teammate that's sorted on somebody else. So we'll get some decent closure happening without getting his attention. Hopefully nobody flicks on a jammer and screws my radar up. Oh, somebody did. Okay, never mind. There's also that lower contact that's now turned, or not lower, but slower contact that's turned hot towards us now. This other guy's hot on the teammate. They're both hot on the teammate. Okay. I don't really want to hard lock him yet and give away that I'm going for him, but we might need to, just so we don't lose him. Yep, he's sorted on me anyway. Should be a 14A, so he does have Sparrows, but he doesn't have Phoenixes in this scenario. We ideally want to launch before he does. I don't know if he's hard locking me. This stupid Hawk is saturating my RWR. Yeah, it does. So does the MiG-29, but they work differently than Western ones. It's a little complicated from the, for a comparison. But they do have it. The problem is they can't use it if there's anything jamming the radar. If there's a jammer on scope at all, it will kick you back to RWS. Or the equivalent of RWS. Okay, he's launched on me. Probably should have fired just a little bit sooner to avoid that. R27s are a little faster than Sparrows, but he launched first, so I had that coming. Cheers for the sub, by the way. I probably should have actually used my jammer there, it didn't occur to me. I think the Sparrows they have can home on jam, but I forgot I was carrying them, to be honest. I don't carry jammers very often. Well, chalk that one up for experience. Now we gotta wait another century for this thing to
Request rearming.
refuel.
Copy.
I don't want to leave my jammers on non-stop as well, just because, first of all, home on jam sparrows, and second of all, I don't want to be risking a team kill with R missiles, because the R-27s can home on jam as well, and your teammates in Su-27s and MiG-29s, and MiG-21s for that matter, and MiG-19s even, they can't identify you, they can't IFF if there's a jammer, they just see a great big streak of contacts, and they don't know what it is. So it's a bit of a risky proposition, and as well as that, it bounces any of them that are trying to TWS back into observe, into like RWS, which is a pain in the ass. But yeah, I probably should have used the jammer there. Blue are definitely a lot more coordinated this time. I mean, they do also comically outnumber us, but that's usually how this server is anyway. But they're coming across in groups, and the Tomcats are actually covering the bombers this time instead of flying off chasing randoms. So it's quite difficult to get anything up to the bombers to kill them, whereas last time it was quite easy. What server? Enigma's Cold War. They're running a sort of special mission at the moment. So it's asymmetric. Red is flying air defense, and blue has to get bombers down this sort of ingress path, hit a target here, and they have to pass a certain threshold. I think it's 192 bombers total have to get to this area and hit the target, and then they win. If we shoot down enough that they can't get 192, that they get less than that, then we win. So the mission's spread out over, I think, a 24-hour period or something. So if we do a shit job, they're going to get that threshold pretty fast. I'd say they probably got it by now. Now, I did say that last time, and we actually won by a reasonable margin. But just the vibes I'm getting so far today, it feels like Red are really struggling to get anything done. We do have some SAMs on our side. They've got SAMs on theirs as well to stop us crossing into their territory and doing silly shit. But our SAMs are kind of few and far between. They will engage the bombers from time to time, but blue also have Vigans and Skyhawks, and I think a few Harriers with sidearms as well, so they can seed our SAM sites and suppress or destroy them. So there's a lot of different moving parts in this, which makes it quite cool. It's just difficult to get much done in it without teamwork to start with. And that seems to be Red's problem today.
Refueling complete.
So with regards to the data link, the Su-27 has it as well, although it's a little different. It has a ship-to-ship as well as GCI data link. Just got to remember where the panel is. Aha, it's over here. This is the panel here. So this gives you your carrier wave for the data link. This is the cipher, the encryption, and then Rasmus, I forget what Rasmus is. I think it's like specific channel. You've got your different regimes. So you've got like a semi-automatic and an automatic regime, where one will give you cues that you fly to, like you follow the cues manually, and the automatic regime, basically the aircraft does everything for you. It flies where the GCI tells it to fly, it points its sensors where the GCI tells it to point them. All you're there to do is essentially just pull the trigger and make sure nothing breaks. You can also see, this is for setting the frequency of the radar and the missile so that you don't interfere with your wingmen. On the radar control panel here and the combat controls, so this is your delta H, difference in altitude. So the way you set where you want to search with the radar in Soviet aircraft of this vintage is a little different to a modern Western aircraft, where you set, you know, you've got your altitude brackets, you've got your body, your sort of floor, and your ceiling, and it searches everything between that, and then you set how many bars you want. These are different. You tell it the expected range of the enemy, which will appear in the bottom center of the HUD, which is also the radar scope. And at that range, you then set the delta H, which is the, sorry about the jitter, which is the difference in altitude in kilometers between you and the target. So if I'm expecting a target 80 kilometers in front and 5 kilometers below me, I'll set the radar to show 80 at the bottom, and then set the delta H to show minus 5. That, you know, it's got a little detent between -4 and -6, I think. It just doesn't have it written there. Then this is your Navidenia is guidance. So this is your guidance mode, but it doesn't mean for the missiles. It doesn't even mean for navigation necessarily. It means for the radar. So you use this switch to tell it, okay, I want you to point where the GCI tells you to point, or you use it to point the radar where you want it to point. And these are all your different radar modes and combat modes here. So you've got your master illuminate switch. This turns the radar actually on into illuminator mode, where it's, you know, broadcasting. Basically takes it out of standby. This is your laser not designator, laser rangefinder. Dalnomer rangefinder. And that is in the Erstball in front of the nose. So that's used for close combat, because the radar can't resolve range very well when you get too close to something, so you use a laser rangefinder to do it, in cooperation with the Erst. This is your automatic lock or manual lock, so this would be something that you'd use, for example, in the TWS mode to automatically box what you settle the cursor on, or the first thing it thinks which is a threat, versus you having to manually box something and lock it yourself. This, I think, is one of the anti-jam modes, but don't quote me on that. This is your sphere engagement. So instead of, you know, having specific high and low PRF modes, or medium PRF mode, I seriously can't speak today, apparently. You have frontal sphere, automatic, and pursuit sphere, so rear sphere. And the modes there are limited, as you expect them to be. So like MPRF, or interleaved, I guess it'd be a better way of saying it, is sort of medium to short range, and pursuit, low PRF, is very low range, doesn't deal well with things further out. Pursuit is usually what you're going to be using in this, unless something turns side onto you, or is running away from you, or is you know, very close. When they get within, I think, about 40 kilometers, you want to switch to automatic. This is... I honestly don't remember. And then these are your actual modes. So the top here, you can't see it because the knob's in the way, but it says Blizhny Boy, close range combat. That's got your vertical scan, that's got your bore sight, it's got your helmet mode. So again, you can't see it because the knob's in the way, or you kind of can. That's vertical. And then on the right is Schlem, which is helmet, and then in the middle is the slewable bore sight. It's not a straight bore sight mode, that's a different thing in the Su-27 and the MiG-29. It's an actual slewable bore sight. I can show you it. This. So I can slew this around, which is quite cool. And so you don't even need to use your helmet to do that. But then, you know, it's a lot of the time if you've got the helmet, you just use that instead. I don't think this has any real advantages over it in terms of range. I'll flip back to nav while we're on the ground. And then you've got RLS, which is Radio Locazione Stanza, radar. OLS, which is your electro-optical sensor in the nose. Navigatia, which is your nav mode, so I've got nav mode selected on the HUD, so I would expect to see that there. I actually don't know if that knob's animated. No, it's not. But there's your nav mode. And Phi 0, this thing here, Phi 0, that's what a Westerner would call bore sight. That gives you whatever's directly on the waterline of the aircraft, right here in the crosshairs, that is what it's bore sighting. So the slewable bore sight and the actual bore sight are two different things in this jet. And down here you've got... This is your navigation. Sorry about the jittering, I've got a slightly noisy sensor on my throttle. This is your navigation display mode, so take off. This is your different like navigation. Marschroute is like your sort of what do you call it in Western aircraft? Like a en route guidance, I guess, like your actual waypoints, and then for different altitude settings, and then you've got your landing setting here. And then these are all your autopilot modes. So landing, guidance, so that'll let the GCI fly your plane for you, basically. This is navigation mode, so it'll navigate to whatever you've told it to navigate to. Automatic, I think is just the... I'm trying to think. Automatic, I think, is just where it automatically levels the aircraft. It's the recovery mode. And then this is your altitude hold for radar altimeter, altitude hold for barometric alt. This is your vertical hold, so climb and dive, I think. And then this is just ditches it. And then you've got 3 scan zones on the radar, same as MiG-29. So left scan, center scan, right scan. And they're, I think, 55 degrees on this. They're 55 degrees each on the MiG-29. The radars are quite similar between them. They share a lot of common architecture, just this radar is a lot bigger and more powerful and has a few more Gucci features. They're not the same radar. They don't operate on the same frequencies. So they should not show up as the... Whoopsie daisies. They should not show up as the same radar on an RWR. They just do in DCS because ED. But they do share common architecture, so does the weapon control system. There's a lot of common architecture between the 27 and 29, just the 27 has more of it, because it was the more expensive aircraft to build. Go ahead and turn our pilot body back on. I like using the pilot body even though I'm not using VR, just because immersion. No worries. I haven't had an info dump yet today, so I was overdue for one. It's coming sooner or later. Yeah, I probably will. I just got to figure out the time for it. I've also got to make sure I don't over-rely on what I intuit from it, because I've done that in the past and got a few things wrong. Turns out I don't automatically know everything. I just feel like I do sometimes, because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'll have to give the actual manuals a quick run through before I do anything like that. Make sure I'm not telling you guys this button does something it doesn't actually do. A lot of the controls, for, as you might imagine with common systems architecture, a lot of the controls are quite similar between this and the 29 as well, so it carries over. They're just in different places, or they're represented slightly differently. Something that people criticize the Soviet aircraft for quite often is ergonomics, and it's a DCSism. It's kind of like me complaining about visibility and things, where in real life you don't notice the cockpit bars as much because you have stereoscopic vision. Even in VR it's less of an issue, although in VR you still kind of tunnel vision in terms of field of view. A lot of this stuff, yeah, it's not HOTAS, sure, but it's right in front of the throttle. Like, literally, you barely move your hand to use it. You're going to know where it is from muscle memory. It's in a similar place in each Soviet aircraft, particularly if it's from the same design bureau. So you have like a minimum amount of conversion training that you need between different things. The stick forces even feel very similar between your basic trainer, the fighter you flew before this one and now this one. Even though this has fly-by-wire, the stick forces are still quite heavy by Western standards to match things like MiG-23, MiG-21, L-39 that you trained on. There's a lot of crossover to minimize that sort of, I guess you could call it training scars issue. And in real life, the ergonomics, they're not perfect, sure, but they're not as bad as people make out. Particularly because a lot of the time in a fight, you'll notice even Western pilots will be flying both hands on the stick to make aggressive maneuvers. Yeah, in BVR you might be HOTAS in a Western jet, but like the Soviets kind of recognize you need critical close combat stuff on the stick and the throttle, which it is on this. A lot of your close combat controls are on the stick, overrides and things. Like this switch here is an override to go into close combat or BVR mode. so that if you get into a merge, you can just flick that switch. It's like the dogfight switch in the 16, I guess. It's really not as big a deal as people make it out to be, and particularly for the older aircraft where the US still didn't have HOTAS either, like, you know, on the Phantom or whatever. The Soviet aircraft tend to have equally good, if not better, ergonomics in some ways, just because they keep things where they were on the previous aircraft, and anything like super critical is kept near the throttle. So like if you look on the MiG-21 and the MiG-23, anything Mikoyan built actually, all of the emergency controls you need if something happens on takeoff or landing are right here above the throttle, so you barely have to move your hand. It's like another wave of bombers got through, unfortunately. We've also got stuff really close to us. Hello? Oh, stutter. We're not going to get a reply. The server might be desyncing a little. This is enemy, but it's also really slow and really close, so I don't trust this. You know what? It says enemy. I'm going to launch on it. He might be desynced. Actually, yeah, I think everyone is desynced because the server stuttered. So I'm probably going to randomly explode because he probably also shot at me and hit detection in DCS's client side. So when the server sneezes like this and everyone freezes up, as soon as the server catches up, all of their actions are going to be reconciled at once. Like I was saying earlier, something in 2.9 doesn't play nice with Enigma's mission. I think maybe some of the scripts aren't working anymore. Okay, well, considers that a kill. Kind of wish I hadn't wasted 2 missiles on that now. Oh, we got more contacts. Interestingly, they're not showing up on data link at all. I don't know if it's just because they're frozen as well, or it might be that, yeah, they're hanging in the air, so the ground-based radar isn't picking them up. Run down the RWR, sure. It's not as intimidating as it looks, but it does take quite a bit of concentration to figure out what it's trying to tell you. Yeah, these guys are all frozen. The server's probably maybe going to go down shortly, not sure. Could have held that launch. Oh, yep, server's restarting. Okay. I'm not sure if that's the end of the event. I think it might be, because it's 3 in the afternoon here, so it's probably, what, like midnight in the US? So it might be the end of the event. We'll see if it comes back up on this mission. If it comes back up on the regular mission, there's no Su-27s. There are MiG-29s, but I don't think I can... I don't think I have enough points to use one yet, because they're point locked on the normal mission, because they're a bit, you know... They bully things very easily. So... If it doesn't come back up on this mission, I'll just hop into a quick single-player one to show it. If it even times me out, this is... Oh, there we go. Took a while. Server ping timeout. We could hop on Tempests, actually. I haven't been on there for a while. So I'll probably be even more rusty on there, but we can do it. Hopefully going forward, Jets do what Heeple is doing the Phantom, the ability to hover and take you to it in the manual. I know ED already have a thing that opens the manual in-game, so you can just do that, but I don't know if you can hover over something and click it through. I don't think so. You still have to go to the manual and then click through from the actual index page. Yeah, the 29's a joy to fly. The 29's actually, that's the reason I don't fly the Su-27 as much anymore. The 27's obviously the more capable jet in most respects. Not acceleration. Nothing accelerates at the 29. Well, maybe a clean F-16. But the 29 is just a lot more like raw to fly. It's a lot more fun to fly because it still has the mechanical controls. It's still got mechanical limiters and stops. It's still, you've still got to kind of whisper to it to get it to do what you want. Whereas the Su-27 is just like, you know, yeah, it's got hard limiters built into the fly-by-wire. The fly-by-wire deals with most of the finicky stuff. Like, yeah, you still got to put in trim because the Soviets were very much the idea that, you know, we want the fly-by-wire to stabilize the aircraft. We don't want to take away trim from the pilot. Again, trying to reduce the need for retraining. But do we have 27s or is it just 33s in here? It might be 33s, but it's basically the same aircraft internally, so won't matter. Oh, they got Jeffs posing as tiger sharks. I don't know if I agree with that one, Chief. That's kind of... Alright, so basically same aircraft, right? I don't remember which livery it was that I usually run with. There's one that I really like. Might be this one? Anyway. We want some more flares than that. You get less countermeasures in the Su-33 because the tail structure is slightly different. You also don't have the parachute. Okay, we've got Sorbitsias, we've got PL-8s? The fuck? Huh? Huh? The fuck is a PL-8? That... Is that a Chinesium R-73? Oh, it's a Chinesium AIM-9X, I guess. Whatever, we're putting R-73s on, fuck that shit. We're probably LARPing as like a J-15 or whatever it is, the Chinese naval one. Okay. 27R. Can I not carry... Oh yeah, the T's go on that rail. What we're gonna do is we're going to actually nix the tunnel missiles because they are, I think, the draggiest stations, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it's because of the way the airflow interacts with the tunnel. I think that's true. Don't quote me on that. I seem to recall that the non-draggy stations for this are the ones under the intakes. And then we're going to swap these out for 27Ts. We only need a pair of 73s because if I need more than 2 R-73s, I fucked something up really, really badly. We'll keep the Sorbitsias, I guess. I don't usually fly with them, but whatever. And we'll go with this loadout. So, that's where I hope my binds are actually standardized between the two versions of the aircraft, because I don't fly the 33 very often. Okay, so, SPO-15 radar warning receiver. There's some nuance to this based on how the actual RWR is tuned. For the purposes of DCS as implemented right now, we don't have to worry about the complicated one. The complicated one is each of these represents a specific radar it's looking for, or a specific group of radars, and it's kind of obtuse, but that doesn't matter in DCS, because in DCS it represents a much more easily remembered class of radar. So, you got your little picture of an aircraft, that's you. You've got a little dash of light on the nose, that tells you that the SPO is on. The V, it's a Cyrillic V, tells you something's above you. You know, Vert is up. The N, Niz is down. So if the V is illuminated, the target's significantly above you from the perspective of the RWR sensor. If the N is illuminated, significantly below you, like probably 20-30 degrees offset. If they're both illuminated, it means it's somewhere generally co-out, give or take a bit. It's not super detailed in terms of angular resolution. These are your primary threat bearing indicators, the outer scale with the numbers. So you've got, what's that? 20 degrees angular resolution across the nose, 20-ish degrees, just in the individual lights. For a midpoint of that, say for 20 degrees, instead of 10 or 30, 10 and 30 will illuminate simultaneously. So that tells you it's between these two. It's very much like the MiG-21's RWR in that sense, or the Heinz. So if the 10 illuminates, it means that whatever's locking you is, or painting you is about 10 degrees right of the nose. If 10 and 30 illuminate at the same time, it means it's about 20 degrees right of the nose. If, say, on the left side, 50 and 10 illuminate, they shouldn't do that at the same time, because that would, you don't have two primary threats. So something's wrong if it does that, but say like 30 and 50 would be, oh, it's 40 degrees to my left. So that's your primary threat. There should only be one primary threat. So there should only ever be one or two of these lights lit simultaneously, and they should always be next to each other if they are simultaneous. You've got good angular resolution out to about 50, 60 degrees. Past that, it gets worse. So you can see we jump from 50 to 90. So if those illuminate simultaneously, the target could be anywhere from 50 degrees to 90 degrees right of you. Or left, depending which side. So you kind of lose resolution right as something passes into your sort of 3 and 9 line. Resolution over the tail is crap. The sensor can only tell you, oh, there's something locking from this side of the tail or this side of the tail. You have a single light that just tells you it's behind you and it's in this general direction. If 90 and that light up at the same time, it means the threat is kind of just behind your wing, but it's not fully behind you. If obviously both of these bottom ones go on at the same time, it means the target's basically directly behind you. So you got really good frontal resolution. You got pretty piss poor rear resolution. We'll actually leave this for now. So the little green lamps are your secondary threat. There can be several of those lit at once, either because a target is between them, same as the primary threat, or it can be because they're separate targets. So you might see, this one's got 30 lit for secondary, you might see the 90 secondary get lit at the same time. It means that there are two distinct threats, one at 30, one at 90. So green is your secondary threat. We then have this illuminated ring. This is your signal strength. This is what makes this RWR actually really fucking good, if you know how to read it. Because this signal strength, it feels anti-clockwise from the right. So 1 bar is pretty piss weak. Half is like, you want to start worrying about this now. And when it gets all the way to the end, this arrow illuminates, which is like, you're fucked. Whatever is painting you is really close or really strong or both. It's right on top of you. Now, this is useful enough for just a radar, like a fighter radar or a ground radar that's painting you. Or even for someone guiding a semi-active missile. If you've got an active missile out on you, like a Phoenix or an AIM-120, this is fucking insane, because this tells you, in real time, if you've defeated the missile. When this is filling, the missile's gaining on you. When it stops filling, the missile is co-energy with you. When it starts dropping off, congratulations, you've defeated that missile, and you can stop giving a shit about it, because it's not going to be a problem anymore. It's great. The problem is that, like, it gives you all this information, but you have to be able to process it all yourself at once, and you often have to integrate other bits of info. Like, you have to integrate the radar with it manually. This is where something like, say, MSI on the Hornet saves you a lot of work. The Hornet's RWR might not give you this much detail, but MSI on the Hornet will give you pretty equivalent information by just representing the radar and the RWR on the same screen at the same time. Whereas this, you've got to move your head around and look between the scope on the HUD and this constantly. So this is more labor intensive. This is like, this is most beneficial to people who are touched by the TISM, whereas normies struggle with this kind of thing. They don't like it. Below here is your threat types. It's the same deal. The top yellow row is your primary threat type. The bottom row, you can see here, one of them is illuminated kind of bluish green, turquoisey. That's your secondary threat types. So, I don't think I might even be able to hit the test switch on it, but it's some bind that I don't remember. But you've got to take my word for this. There's a Cyrillic P here. There's a Cyrillic Z here. Then this is a Cyrillic H, like K-H, kind of H sound. Like you're bringing up a hairball. This is... What's this one? I'm trying to think. Oops, sorry. Sun is reflecting off the building behind me and fucking with my tracker. I think this one's like a Cyrillic G or a Latin F. I don't think it's meant to be a Latin F. Maybe it is. One of them is. It might be that one. And then there's like a Cyrillic S, which is your ships. The F1, I think, is your EWRs and your AWACS. And then, okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. P. Pirichvachik, fighter/interceptor. In the original way these were tuned, that meant specific fighter radars like F4s, F15s, F104s. That's not how it's modeled in DCS because they retuned these at some point in the late 80s, early 90s to be more standardized. So that is any fighter radar will light that up. Again, primary and secondary threat lights, but that's what that does. Z is long-range air defense. So that's like SM2s, Patriots, things like that will light up to the Z. Mid-range air defense and Hawks. This used to be specifically for the Hawk and Nike Hercules. They would both light this up. That's why it's a Hawk or Hercules. You know, like if you're trying to pronounce it with a Russian accent. That will light up for mid-range SAMs, and then the one to the right of it, I forget what it's represented as, honestly. That is your short-range air defense, so like Vulcans, Avengers, if they're using their range-finding... Does the Avenger have a range-finding radar? I don't remember. I think it does. Maybe it doesn't. But that's short-range shit, right? Little Shorad shit. Roland's, I think, will light that up too. And then you've got, like I said, early warning and then ships. You can have only one primary threat type, same as the angle indications, but you can have multiple secondary threat types. The RWR will prioritize what it thinks is the biggest threat to you, which is usually a good thing, but sometimes it can be a trap. Like if you have what I had last mission, where a fucking Hazard Perry was just constantly locking me with its SM2, that will blot out a lot more actually concerning things. No worries. Hey, if I can do something useful for once, I'm all for it. You know what? Let's just talk about some other things in the cockpit of a flanker. Hey newbie, cheers for the sub. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Now, bear in mind, I haven't read the manual in this in full because my Russian is very, very limited. I have to translate bits and pieces as I need them. So some of this is going to be inferring from other aircraft. Some of this will be in me just guessing based on what an abbreviation is. Some of this will be wrong probably, but hopefully I'll get most of it right. Usually in chat we've got at least one native Russian speaker who will be able to call me out on this, but I don't know if any of them are awake at the moment. So, this is used to select specific targets that you're trying to designate. Celi. That means target, right? Cell is target. Celi is multiple targets. And so this gives you like which target you want to actually highlight. I think this is specifically for the data link. I don't know if this actually does anything for the radar. In FC3 implementation, it doesn't matter anyway. Istribiteli is fighters. This is your group. This is your data link group here. So you've got a 4-way ship-to-ship data link, and then you've got GR is for the entire group, I think. Grupa, probably. And then, yeah, I think this is for assigning targets over the data link is probably what that does, now I think about it. Spros is like reset or drop. Vod is... Vod is like... how do I best put this? The root word is the word you use to like describe someone as driving something, like locomotion. So that might be like to take charge of assigning this. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't know 100% what that does. But Spros, I know, is like drop or reset. This is your navigation system. If you've flown the Car 50, this might look relatively familiar because it's kind of similar. It's got a lot of the same sort of buttons and obscure mathematical symbols on it. So that's what that is. That's like your INS and navigation system and all that stuff on it. Waypoint selection, your different modes, because there's different waypoint modes. PPM is like a steer point. That's what we call a steer point in English. That's aerodrome, that, as the name suggests, tells you how to get home to a particular airbase. You can program it with a certain number of friendly airbases and then use that to select which one. I don't know what these two do or what that does. One of these might be for refueling, since this thing can do air-to-air refueling, and the base model 27 can't. This is your actual navigation indicators for that. So where that was represented in the Su-27 was over here. That's been moved. So this has got a few different additions to the autopilot, because this has got an auto throttle. The Su-27 doesn't. So this is your auto throttle controls. You've got your altimeter, like your desired altitude, you've got your desired Mach number, you've got your automatic or manual guidance, and then this is velocity. This is like ZAD. ZAD usually means Zadny, which is behind, but I don't know what that, like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me in this context, so I could be barking up the wrong tree. That's the auto throttle button, by the way. Bolsche and Minsche, so that increases or decreases velocity of ZAD, whatever ZAD stands for. And then this is like getting into more sort of control systems. That's your damper, you want that on all the time. OPR, I don't remember what that does. This is like your, for your fly-by-wire, I believe, for the signaling. That's your funny Cobra switch under the guard there. So that bins your fly-by-wire, a lot of your fly-by-wire limitations and lets you fly the aircraft. I don't think fully manually, but like you can override the limiters, and that lets you do silly shit like Cobras. It's your cabin heating. Why is it there? I don't know. I guess because you want to use it a lot in flight to regulate temperature, so it's near the throttle. Then we've got our... That's like your intake ramp control. And then next to that's your nose wheel steering. Hey Saber, good to see you, man. Appreciate the sub. This is your landing lights. That's your taxi lights and your hook. Sorry, no, that's your hook. That's your landing and taxi lights there. Middle position's taxi. That's your hook. So hook up, hook down. And then that's for your flaps, those two buttons. And then all of this shit's, that's fire extinguishers. This is automatic Dross for Saja. That's Dross, I'm not sure what it stands for. It might be for the turkey feathers, but that's to do with the afterburner, so that's an automatic mode for the afterburner. Protivo, that's anti-ice. This is your Noski Krila is leading edge slats. Wing socks, basically, or like, yeah, wing socks, they're basically literally called. It took me a while to figure that one out. But that's your leading edge slats. That's got an automatic and an up override. And then these are like shut-off systems or bypass systems for critical stuff. So SPP, I don't remember what it stands for. This is your emergency shut-off for the afterburner, left-right. This is your air start, left-right. This is radio frequency, so this is how you tune your radio. This is, as I said in the Su-27, this is your GCI data link. This is your radar frequency, so that your radar and your missiles recognize each other and you're not interfering with old mate's radar next to you. Sometimes you want to set the same frequency. If you can get constructive interference out of it, just for observation, you want to then tune it separately for your missiles, but you generally don't want to be on the same frequency as someone else, especially in the same flight, because it can fuck your radar up. It can shorten the range, or it can make your missiles guide on the wrong signal, or it can do all sorts of bad things. I forget what this does. It's Zamir. This is something to do with a range. I think this is your navigation beacon range. So yeah, it's got group off, and then used, I'm not sure what that stands for, and singular there. So yeah, that'll be like your ADF settings. On the MiG-21, that's on the right side. This is tests for different systems. This is circuit breakers for different systems. Don't really need to worry about those once you're in flight, unless they flick off when they're not meant to. Finally not working. I'm working tomorrow, so we've swapped. This is power switches. This is like master power switches, pitanie. So that's ekran, that's for your screens, or screen. That's the ekran. I think that's the ekran. No, actually, it's probably referring to that ekran, sorry. This is specifically called ekran. When reader tells you, Отказ систем, смотри экран, that means a system has failed, it doesn't have a dedicated annunciator light, look at the ekran, the screen, and that will tell you what it is. Ekran is loan worded from the French écran, which is screen, so easy enough to work out if you speak French. Which I don't, by the way, I just understand a little. This is your radio, this is your UHF, this is your high frequency, SO is your transponder, like your traffic transponder. SRO is your IFF transponder. This is your presumably indicators, so probably all of your instrumentation, everything is on that switch. This is like your master circuit breakers, right? OPS, don't remember what that is. I think that might be your helmet system. I think OPS is your helmet. And then Navadinya is guidance, like I said. So that'd be like, yeah, probably autopilot GCI integration / waypoint integration. I'm not 100%. Someone should probably check me on that. SUO Oberona. SUO. Trying to think what that is. SUO in a tank, a Soviet tank, would be fire control system. Система управления огонь. But in the context of the Su-33, I'm not sure what it means. It might mean the weapon control system, or it might mean something else. Obrona is defense. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. You'd have to look that one up. This is to do with the IFF. This is like setting the IFF bands. This is IFF, like transponder stuff. In fact, most of this is IFF. Actually, no, sorry, that's countermeasure. I'm dumb, that's countermeasures. That's your interval. That's your indicator showing you which are remaining of a specific type. This is your how many you want to fire at once. This is your emergency jettison. That's your test. That's your stop firing them, please, and that's your fire them back up. There's the actual button to release them on the throttle. Right there. That's the countermeasure button. But that's your like backup button in case that one fails. Yeah, we're in the 33. This is IFF. So that's your self-destruct, that's your emergency transponder, like, hey, come rescue me. That controls your different response channels. That's your... this is transponder and IFF stuff still. So, Ответ SO means you're answering on the... like, you've been interrogated and are answering on the... GCI / air traffic control frequency. That's a ground station will be using this to figure out who the fuck you are, so that'll light up. The MiG-21 has a similar thing on the instrument panel. That's your voltmeter, obviously, and just control switches, or test switches for different things. Control in Russian means test in English in this context. That's testing for the SDU, which is the... I think that's like the chief computer system of the aircraft, or it might be the flight control computer. I think it's the flight control computer. Important shit. You don't want to hear Отказ SDU or bad shit happens. More circuit breakers. That's your aerodrome ground power. That's your battery left, right. That's your generator left, right. That's... Don't remember what that does. I know what the... like, I recognize the word, I just don't remember what it means. It's an abbreviation. Skladivanie Krila? It's something to do with the wings, but I don't know what. Oh, that's the wing folding. That's what that is. That'll be the wing folding. Sklad is like storage, like warehousing, right? Sklad is storage, and then Krila is wing. So yeah, wing storage, wing folding probably. I think that's the power switch for it. I don't know if that actually is what folds them. And because a lot of this shit's not animated in FC3, you can't hit the thing and tell by watching it move. This is your cockpit illumination. Sukhoi aircraft usually have a great big panel that says Osveshchenie, and it'll have knobs on it. That's your cockpit illumination. Any Sukhoi aircraft will have that layout. I can't even speak English. I don't know why I'm attempting to speak Russian today. Zaливающий свет. We got there in the end. Zaливающий свет is cabin lights, question mark? Zaliv is the word they use for a bay, like a water bay. So it might be like bay lights for the ground crew to work on stuff, or it might mean the cabin light, I'm not sure. Priborov is the instrument lighting, Bortov is the consoles, so that might be like an overhead light or something, or just a general illumination. That Yarkost Lampi, that's your brightness for the indicator lights, like the annunciators, and then A and O is your navigational lights. And that's like a 4 or 5 position switch or something to get different intensity on them. Pomecha, that's your... this is your jamming system. So this is like, you tell it what settings you want to jam on, and that's what turns it on. This is radio navigation, that's the ADF. That's basically where, like, you know, your Arc 5 or Arc 9 on the older MiGs, that's that, but on a smaller panel, because some of the functionality is crossed over with other panels. But that lets you set your frequency, whether you want to use telephony or telegraphy, set the volume, blah, 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 whatever. It's an ADF, like, everyone knows how those work. This is... setting what it's actually looking for, I think. So you've got your IKV and IKV is one of your screens, I think. Trying to remember if IKV is the HUD or the doubler. It might be the doubler. ILV is the HUD, I think, and IKV, I think, is the doubler. So this sets where you want navigation data to appear, what you want it to filter. So you've got your ARC, which is your ADF in English. You've got your Rejim Rabota, which is your working mode. This will be steer points. This will be doubling it on the doubler. Stands to reason. And this MK is marker, I think, like the airfield markers as you're coming into land. And then Zeka Ruchnayo is manual course setting with the heading bug on the fucking this thing. That's ZK. So I think we've gone over like basically the main stuff. Then you've got your instruments, you know, you've got your SPO, annunciator lights. This tells you systems failure on something that isn't on an annunciator light, and also general status of the aircraft, like when your fuel gets to 600 liters or whatever. Oh, this is your pitot heating, clock heating, reserve or main pitot. This is your... I am not entirely sure. I think this is... Does this thing have formation lights? I don't remember. It's something to do with the lighting system, I think. Or the... landing, maybe. GUK, G-A-K, is your hook. That's the emergency release for the hook. Those I'm not sure on. So I'm not gonna dig my hole any deeper on those, because I'm not 100% sure what they do. This one... likewise. This is your fuel drain. The Su-27 has one too, so it can actually... it can dump fuel. MiG-29, I don't think can. You wouldn't want to in the 29 anyway, because you don't have enough to dump. These are your different pressures. So, brake pressure, left, right. This is emergency for something. Stanga, I forget what Stanga means. I know it, but I've forgotten it. But it's an emergency pressure for something. It's probably the emergency pressure reserve for the braking system. These three lights are your trim neutral lights. So if the trim's neutraled out, all three of those should be on. Left to right, it's your rudder trim, rudder направление, which is course or heading, rudder, the aircraft refer to it as a different thing. So on the Su-25, it refers to your stabilizer as, what is it, RV, rudder Visati. In this, it's actually referred to as ST, like stabilizator. And then EL is aileron. So that's yaw, pitch, roll, trim, neutral. Then this is like, what's this? This is specific. Oh, this is refueling. That's what that is. That's refueling. That's your fucking in-flight refueling stuff, probably. Like emergency pressure for that or something. But yeah, that's what that is. That's your in-flight refueling settings. You've also got that's your refueling light, probably? Because Fari is lights. Usually refers to landing lights, but in this case I think it's a refueling light. And then this will be your, yeah, refueling controls, which the Su-27 doesn't have. That's your rudder trim there. It's just a switch on the instrument panel. On the Su-27, I think it's over here somewhere. And then your pitch and roll trim, where you'd expect them to be on the thumb hat. Engine temps, engine RPM, climb, descent, so that's your VSI. Trying to remember if these are the afterburner lights. I think they might be. Soviet aircraft almost always have an afterburner light that tells you the burner's lit. So just in case you can't hear it or feel it through the seat, you know the burner's actually lit off correctly. If that light doesn't come on and you've got burner selected, you're going to have a bad time because the nozzles will probably rack open and you'll lose all your thrust. So those are actually really useful to have. This is your clean. This is the ramps, the intake ramps. That gives you their percent position. So if you need to manually operate it in case of an automatic systems failure, you know where the ramps are sitting. Very important. Very, very important. These are, everyone knows what these are, right? These are your normal blind flying instruments, your radar, altimeter. This is your cooling switch for the R-73s over here. This is your clock. This is, they always find a weird place to put it. This is for the ADF, the outer and inner markers. Automatic, close, far. Ближний, дальний. Ближний is close, дальний is far. So that's your markers. Landing gear handle, obviously. This is brightness of something. I'm not sure what that controls. It might be this indicator here. Probably is. Buzzer цели is... I think that's how you set the target wingspan when you're doing the manual guns mode. I'm pretty sure that's where that is. On the 29, it's in a different place. It's up here with this stuff. And then... this is your gain control for the electro-optical sensor. That's where that is. Explained all that already. This is your cabin pressure on the left. Oh, sorry, cabin altitude on the left. This is your oxygen flow. This is your delta pressure. So this is the difference in cabin pressure between inside and outside. This is your suspended load indicator. So that tells you what you've got on the aircraft and then what you've got selected once you actually, you know, start selecting weapons. This, I think, is specifically used for fuel transfer when you're refueling the aircraft, or it might be for external tanks. I don't know if they ever planned to put externals on the Su-33. The original T-10 series wasn't planned to have any external tanks at all. It's all internal, but they may have changed their mind on that. Certainly the Su-34 can carry external tanks now. Is there anything we... oh, this panel. Okay, so this is your, like, weapons control panel. So this is your master arm. Glavny Vykluch, so that's, like, literally just master arm, pretty much, in Russian. Glavny is, like, head or in charge. This is your automatic or manual fire, or like launch authorization. So I think, okay, that's not animated. I don't know if that's the same as the launch authorization override binding. It might not be. This is air to ground switch, which is just, again, not animated, so it's always in ground mode. But that's what that does. This is your ripple settings, ripple and ripple timing settings for air-to-ground stuff. I think for air-to-air stuff that might work as well. This is an unguided launch. So this is an emergency mode for a guided missile. If you need to get the missile off the rail and it isn't going to guide, or it can't guide or whatever, you flip this switch, and that will just blast the thing off the rail ballistically. Which is how the emergency launch button should work in the MiG-21, by the way, but it doesn't at the moment. This shows you your remaining countermeasures, or it should, but it's not implemented in DCS. I think? No? Sorry, I'm dumb. That's your remaining gun rounds. My bad. PPU. What's PPU? Gun pods? Could be gun pods. I don't know. PU is usually referring to a cannon installation. VPU is it's like Vozdushny. Pushka Ustanovka. I'm probably butchering the Russian because cases and genders and stuff, but that's like a aircraft onboard cannon. That I think is a gun pod, but I'm not 100% sure. This is... I'm not sure. It's a reset button for something, and then you've got your working mode and your reserve modes for something. 23 gun pod. I don't know if this can carry it, but maybe? Anyway, we should probably actually get airborne. Hey, we've been sitting here talking for how long? Should probably also recenter my tracker since I've been moving around so much. I don't fly the 33 very often because it's a bit of a... It's not quite a unicorn in real life, I guess, but it's out of period for Cold War stuff because it wasn't really through its state trials by the end of the 80s and the early 90s. So it's a relatively uncommon aircraft. It's more modern than Cold War, and you know, I tend to prefer the Su-27 because it's a little less draggy, a little lighter, but it's a cool aircraft. I really wish that we did have full fidelity versions of aircraft like this, because it's just so much more interesting when you need to know where stuff is, and that knowledge is actually useful, than just here, where it's like, oh, I can tell people where it is in the aircraft, usually, but it doesn't actually matter. It's kind of a shame. So now, having done all that, we'll probably fly one quick sortie in here, get our ass handed to us, and then we'll, I think we might end the stream, actually, after that, because I should probably get some stuff done around the house. I've got work tomorrow. And I'll see if Ligmas is back to the PVO mission. If it is, I might hop on there a little longer, otherwise we might hop off. And I'll try and get another stream in sometime between now and Christmas, but no guarantees, because, work. I'm going to pop up the sunshade as well, because that probably is going to annoy us really quickly once we're off the ground. The server's also pretty quiet at the moment, so there's not a whole lot of blue fixed wing flight. What the fuck? Interesting, okay. Can someone report that, please? Levitating runway markings on Persian Gulf? Hello? I don't remember that being the case last time I flew on this map. It's weird. Yeah, those are the afterburner lights, okay. One for the left, one for the right. Notice, very unusually for a Soviet aircraft, the Su-33 has an AOA indexer. I believe it works kind of in reverse compared to an American one, but it does have one, and that's purely because it's a carrier-based aircraft, and they figured they probably needed one. Quite a bit of turbulence set on here. That's nice. Not enough servers use a turbulence setting. I mean, it's just canned turbulence in DCS. It's not dynamic like you get in MizFiz, but at least it's something. It makes it a little more interesting to fly. It means you have to actually be paying attention to what you're doing. I kind of hope, even if we don't get a full fidelity Su-27 and Su-33, I kind of hope at some point either give the cockpit a pass and at least animate the switches to match the functions they're supposed to have. Because even with the clickable FC3 mod, it may have changed since, because I know it's been updated since last time I played it. But last time I did try it out, a few of the switches were animated, but not very many. And also a few things were bound to the wrong thing, but that's kind of to be expected, because a lot of this stuff is like arcane knowledge that doesn't come naturally to Westerners. Because it's very differently laid out to how you'd expect a Western jet to be. Whereas this comes... I'm not going to say it's 100% intuitive to me, because like I said, I still get things wrong, and I don't speak Russian fluently, or understand all of the abbreviations, so I do mix things up, but just the way things are laid out does make more sense to me. It's easier and quicker for me to pick up than a Western jet. Don't know why, it's just always been the case. I find these things a lot more in tune with how my brain works. Probably autism. I'm not sure how far south I can risk going before I get shot at by SAMs. Oh, we own all the way to Dubai. Okay, cool. So we'll just fly down there. That simplifies things somewhat. Something that's worth mentioning is the Su-27 and Su-33. Well, as far as I know, the flight control system's very similar between them. This does have the canards, so that does complicate things a bit, but the Su-27 certainly, the fly-by-wire is only in the pitch channel. It's kind of like the Jeff in that regard. The roll and yaw have different methods of damping applied, and a few other little sort of simpler things, but they don't have true fly-by-wire. Pitch does. New event. I was on the PVO event previously. We're on Tempest at the moment just because I wanted to demonstrate some stuff in the flanker cockpit. Speaking of which, turn our crew back on. But yeah, the PVO mission didn't go quite as well for me this time. I don't think it went quite as well for Red either. They were just letting bombers through left, right, and center. I managed to bring down a few fighters and a handful of bombers, but I was just getting clapped over and over, mostly due to my own carelessness. I've got to start flying more often again because I'm getting really, really sloppy. So this is a different mission on Tempest compared to the last time I flew on here, which was months ago at this point. The layout looks broadly similar, but I don't know if it actually plays the same. This guy's in the weeds. I guess we're going to have one of those again where everyone flies in the fucking weeds. Because that's a big brain move, I guess. It is a Strike Eagle, but I doubt he's doing that because he's striking stuff. He's probably doing it because he thinks he's going to be super hard to see on radar if he's down low. He's way out there though, 217 from 190. That looks beautiful down there. That's gorgeous. Just the way the light's reflecting off the water and the shadows in the hills. I think this is the first time I've flown Persian Gulf since they added the new shadowing, and it really seems to do wonders for this map. Whereas, you know, Caucasus and Syria can get a little janky in places. This looks beautiful. Oh my god. That's so cool. Yeah, I know my radar's pointed way down. That's intentional, because this guy's down in the weeds. Still in the weeds, too. We may as well just bump it up to mill power. I've got plenty of fuel on board, and I'm heading towards friendly air bases anyway. Don't need to be too conservative. Hopefully this time I don't get carried away and end up 2 kilometers short of the runway with no altitude and no speed and no fuel like I did last time, but oh well. Okay, 218 for 151. Radar's not going to pick him up that far out, certainly not at that altitude.
Chevy, in from the northwest, engaging ship at bullseye 120 for 400.
I'm assuming the 15s in here don't have AMRAAMs, they only have Sparrows. I mean, Sparrows are still scary, but... And like I said, I'm not real impressed at the Jeff being in here. I know it's standing in place for the F-20, but the F-20 didn't enter service anyway, so, like, why? Why do we need it? Yeah, Sparrows, Fox 1 in NATO terminology. Semi-active radar homing. So are my R-27s. The fact that I only have R-27Rs and Ts and not ERs and ETs probably does mean that there's no AMRAAMs to worry about, because if there were AMRAAMs, I can't imagine many red players would tolerate it without having their extendo range missiles. Oh, he's turned cold. Probably going to try and bait me into SAMs. Yeah, like, it's just generally not a good placeholder for it, I think, and I don't know why there even needs to be an F-20 placeholder. Like, maybe it's to give the Jeff somewhere it can play with other aircraft without having to dodge AMRAAMs left, right, and center, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. I don't like substituting, you know, way out of time period aircraft or aircraft with, like, capabilities that didn't exist at the time or don't match what they're supposed to be place holding. I don't like having those in missions. Just an ugly jet. It's like a 21 matched with a 16 matched with a Mirage 2000. I actually think it's kind of cute. I don't like the way that the tail kind of... Whoops. The tail kind of rounds off before it goes into the afterburner. That looks a bit goofy, but overall it's kind of cute. It's like a... It has, like, almost F5 vibes to me. I quite like that about it. Okay, there he is. We've got him picked up in track while scan. It's going to drop him, of course. Yeah, he's flanking, that's why. Wing planform? I mean, it's basically the F-16, just with massive fucking lurks. Well, the F-16 has pretty big lurks too, but like the Jeffs are more round.
Ford, in from the northwest, engaging ship at bullseye 119 for 450.
It's a fighter-sized target.
Ford, in from the northwest, engaging ship at bullseye 118 for 400.
It's interesting, I'm not getting any data link
Ford, in
information.
from the northwest, engaging ship at bulls 120.
That's why you're not seeing their IFF status or their velocity vector or their altitude popping up like you'd normally see a contact appear on this scope. You're not seeing that, you're just seeing a contact with maybe a velocity vector coming out of it. That's because it's my own radar. I've got no GCI or AWACS info being displayed on it. Just my own radar. Did that always look like that? Have they done retexturing work on this, or have I just not flown over this part of the map at this altitude before? I don't know. Knowing my luck, these guys are going to play cat and mouse with me for like an hour. What do we got? An Apache. I don't really care about him. 2 Mud Hens. An F-15. Oh, there's Car 50s in here as well, and Apaches. Like, that's not really Cold War stuff. The Apache we have isn't really Cold War stuff. It's kind of close if you don't give it stuff and disable a few things, but it's not really still. The Apache wasn't even in service until quite late. I'm very much a purist when it comes to stuff like this. Like, if you're going to make a Cold War mission, make it strictly things that were actually in the Cold War. Otherwise, you know, if it's a hypothetical scenario, then there's no point limiting yourself to Cold War things. It's kind of pointless. Are we over the front line? No, we're not that close to it. But we're still getting painted by Sam pretty powerfully off to our left. Does the front line actually correspond to the real front line? There's a good question. That's a friendly Sam trying to lock up an enemy through me, most likely. So there might actually be something reasonably high that our radar's not picking up or not telling me about. To get bed, gonna finish the smoke and head out. No worries. Cheers for hanging out with us, man. I'm glad I could provide some kind of useful information. But like I said, just fact check me on stuff because I'm not known to always be right. Usually, I'll take credit for usually, but I won't say always. Yeah, the main skill is just, like, especially with how it's buried kind of down in an awkward place, but the main skill is just being able to do it quickly while under stress without either flying into the ground or forgetting something. But once you kind of get to that point, it's really, really good, really useful. It does get saturated quite easily. If you've got like a whole shitload of threats all sorting on you at once, I'd probably say a Western RWR, Western-style RWR is better in that regard. But, you know, these things were not really planned to engage in a way where that would be a problem. Or if it was, they'd have some sort of external situational awareness to let them know, like, no, your primary threat's actually here. So it's one of those things, right? In real life, it wouldn't be as big a deal as it is in DCS, because in DCS, you're not using the thing the way it was built to be used. Which is kind of a running theme with a lot of things that DCS players complain about, or they draw conclusions about real life based on the game that don't really make a lot of sense. Okay. That's a Sam. Oh, can my tracker not do that, please? When I'm being shot at? So, like I said, you can't see directly above or below you, so when I'm in a steep bank angle like this, it can no longer see the threat, the missile. Let's just chuck the Silbitsiers on. Oh, there's the sight. We'll blink jam it. And of course the F-15's sorting onto me now. It's a Sam, so it might actually be home on jam, I'm not sure. He's getting quite close. He's also got some altitude now. Okay, we're good. There we go. 44.8 altitude, slightly above now. There he is. This is going to be sketchy though, because I'm going to be engaging him more or less over a Sam. He's turned cold. Yeah, he wants to fight me over his own Sams. I mean, I don't blame him, I would too, but... Yeah, exactly. We've got an above average player here because they know how to do that. Most of them don't even think about it. We can drag out over the water, and force the engagement to happen here, we might be a little better off. Plus we've got friendly Sams looking towards us, which means that we might be able to get them to clap him. That's a friendly coming towards us, just confirming. It says friendly on the radar scope, it says friendly on the data link. So we can at least see our own aircraft on the data link. That's something, I guess. It's still cold. I'm going to come off the throttle a bit because I used a fair bit of fuel there. We do have a lot of friendly air bases nearby, but I do want to have a little bit of fuel just in case I do get into a fight with this guy. Flank left, he's probably recommitting. 190.75, he's slightly below. Cold. Okay. Maybe he's not going to recommit. It's now above me, but quite far out and cold. He might have figured out there's two of us and he's decided he doesn't want any of that. Don't blame him. Jammer off the nose. I'm not sure if they've got any ships out here or if Abernier has got SAMs on it. I guess we'll find out one way or another. That's possibly his jamming. I think it is. Because remember, we're in our left scan zone, so we're not looking directly ahead of 240, we're looking left towards like 18-ish, 17. Yeah, I don't think he wants me. I might break away and see if I can just kind of get him to jink back into us. But I don't think I will, he's probably headed home. Catch you later, man. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see if this guy, or if anyone shows up, but I'll probably land shortly and then we'll hop off, because I do need to get some stuff done tonight. I don't want to stay up too late. An F-15C. Well, that's him, isn't it? Yeah. Not a Mudhead, an F-15C. An actual fighter. Mudhen's got a good radar and it carries plenty of Sparrows or 120s or AIM-9s, but it's heavy. You feel the weight, you feel the drag, so It can defend itself, but I would not call it a fighter. I think a lot of people got a rude awakening as to its true nature when it released. They thought they were going to get some amazing, like oh, it's going to be an F-15C, but even better, and then, no, that's not what it does. That's not its job. Kind of paralleling the front line here, so we might get some more SAMs shot at us as we get closer. We'll just veer left a bit. But I think we'll be landing shortly, because it doesn't look like they want to play with us. Yeah, catch you later, Trip. Good to see you again, man. We gotta fly together sometime. When we both got the chance to do it. Oh, there we go, 214. Now he recommits. 214, 53. He's higher than me. He's probably pretty fast too. If he's smart, he will have kept his speed up through that turn. .227 for 40. There you are. Oh, he's way fast. I am in trouble here. He's probably going to get the first shot, and it's probably going to get here before mine does. Yep. And I forgot that I haven't changed my trigger binding on this, like I have on the 27. I think there's SAMs engaging too. Oh yeah. He's kind of got me over a barrel here. I think he's probably going to get me. I can see his contrail behind. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah. Yeah. I probably should have been a bit more careful about keeping my speed up too, because what he did there is what you do, you keep your speed up before you recommit, so when you're coming back in, you've got the closure rate to make that shot. It is the 15E's job now that C is going away, but not with CFTs. Yeah, I don't know if they're planning on letting you remove the CFTs. I don't think they are. A lot of people are complaining about it and demanding it, but kind of everyone's going to do that if you let them, so it just turns into gamer mode, more min-maxing. Oh well, it's a good kill to him, but I think I am going to call it there and do some adulting. Hopefully I'll catch you guys at some point before Christmas, but I don't know. My schedule is basically whenever I get time and have the energy now, so we'll see how we go. I should probably find somewhere to send you all, so give me a moment and bear with me. I'll figure out who's on. Aha! We got Robbo. Danger Zone's on as well. Actually, there's a few people on. But I might send you to Danger Zone, because I don't know if we've raided him before. So, bear with me a moment. There we go. Funny thing is that it wasn't when Razbam announced that decision, but they took too long to deliver him. That changed. Yeah, well, it happens. That raid should be set up to go. It might take a while to trigger because I'm doing this through my phone at the moment because my setup is even more scuffed than usual. But yeah, I'll send you guys on to Danger Zone. I will try and get some responsible adult shit done before I have to go to work tomorrow. And we didn't have the most productive DCS session, I guess, but at least it was a nice chill one. It wasn't too bad. And I've got to get back into flying more often, so I'm not quite so rusty when I do my next stream. Because I kind of doubt you guys want to watch me have to try and relearn how to do the most basic shit every time I go live. I don't think I've got any way to speed this up, actually, so we're going to have to wait for like another minute. Yeah, so this is the new mission on Tempest, I guess. This is different to what I had last time I played. Looks pretty cool. Just not a huge fan of the plane set. It's kind of interesting to see, though, the population on Tempest was really, really strong for a while, but it's fallen off a bit more now. Hopefully it comes back. Anyway, I think the raid's gone through, so see ya. Bye.